What's up, dudes? It's a Vigorous Q&A again. Welcome to Saturday. Let's get started with a few updates, and then everybody can join the chat as they see please. We have the Anabolic Roundtable, dropped, I think, episode 7 or 8 was with John Jewett, released last Monday, even though we recorded it like a couple weeks ago. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. More to come. We'll get John Jewett on for another follow-up episode, but the next Anabolic Roundtable that we're going to do, we're going to discuss the fat burners and list them accordingly to the tiers. So that's S tier, A tier, B tier, etc. Right? So stay tuned for that and don't complain if your favorite fat burner ends up in F tier. That's not my problem. That's your problem, right? DNP, certified F tier, fat burner. Okay, I recorded the YK11 deep dive, so that will be dropping on Monday or Tuesday next week. That's already, my editor already released a draft, so I just have to review the 30 minutes that he already edited. And then with a couple adjustments, we can set that live. So that might be on Monday, latest Tuesday next week. I was wondering if you guys would like something like a Vigorous discussion live. So that allows me to create a little bit extra content and maybe answer some questions live instead of going through the comment section and then replying to people there. So it will not entirely be a Vigorous Q&A, but it's mostly like, let's say I released the YK11 deep dive, right? And there's a lot of questions. Instead of replying to those questions in the comment section, what I could do is maybe a couple days later, I just go live and we discuss the video, assuming that you guys have watched it. So whatever questions you might have, just post them at the bottom of the video. I will answer all member questions, obviously, so I'm not going to do a separate member, thread in the community section. If you're a member, just post your questions down below. I'll answer them 100%. And then whatever questions are interesting to answer or end up in the chat or super chatted, I will answer them as well. And then we'll just stick to one topic. So with the YK11 deep dive, there were a lot of questions about YK11 injectable, oral, etc. over the last couple of weeks. So let's release the YK11 deep dive first, and then a couple days later I can go live and answer some more questions, and that gives me some easy content to make because all I need to do is sit here and answer questions. So easier than preparing for it. It brings me to something else, like the vitamins and minerals over-the-counter supplement video about the lifestyle. I completely prepared for it. I have a lot of notes. Then every time I want to record, I'm like, this is not going to get any views. So what I'm going to do is just like the previous video, which I did last Thursday, which I also did live. A couple of hiccups here and there, but I think I did okay. So instead of doing, going through the entire process of making the overlays and then doing the editor and pre-edit and all that stuff, right, wasting everybody's time, I think I'm going to do some easy content just live. You guys can join in, ask me questions. Maybe it's 30 minutes, maybe it's 1 hour. I'll prepare my notes. It won't be super fancy. We'll just do an overlay of the Word document that I prepared. And then I'll discuss whatever springs to mind instead of making it absolutely fucking perfect like I always want it to be. Did I just swear? Okay, we lost monetization. Well, I'm counting on your likes and your super chats this time. So, that allows me to do it a little bit easier because I just realized that I'm working way too much again, right? I'm falling into a nice rhythm of research. So I researched for the YK11 deep dive for about 2 or 3 days, then I recorded it, sent it off to my editor, and now do the draft, a review just to make sure that it's perfect. And now I'm working on the finalization of how to get your wife pregnant video, right? The most important video of the last couple of months that I need to produce. It takes a lot of time. So I really want to focus on the deep dives and make sure that they're absolutely perfect, right? Good editing, good pronunciation, good this and that, but all the low effort or the easy content, I think I'm just going to do live. And if they make some mistakes, if I mispronounce, if I stumble over my words, if I draw a blank, so fucking be it, because otherwise, it will be weeks or days between videos. Let's put it that way. And then the gyno surgery will be, let's see, next week, Tuesday. So do a little prayer for me, because I'm not really looking forward to it. To be honest. So yeah, we're gonna cut this off, do some liposuction, do the gynecomastia removal, and then I'll be in one of those harnesses with the compression, and it's not going to be fun. So I have my entire protocol ready. The TB500, PBC 157, GHK copper. I got some oral micronized progesterone. I got some pharmaceutical Anavar. I got some silica and manganese supplements and collagen supplements, vitamin C, etc. Everything is ready for the best possible outcome of the surgery and make it snappy right away, because I haven't really gone to the gym for a couple of weeks now, and I'm anxious to get started, but I got to get this gyno surgery out of the way first. Talking about things getting out of the way, I got to answer these questions. So let me see if anybody's complaining. That means the audio is good. All right, let's get started. Morphix asks, hey Steve, is it better to take 3 IUs of pharmaceutical growth hormone versus 7 IUs of generic, as they are the same price? According to Kurt, it's useless piece of shit. So it depends. If you're like super lean and you would see the difference in water retention, like if you're off season, I would go with the 7 IUs generics, assuming that you get a good result, it's potent, and 3 IUs of generics give you similar serum levels as 3 IUs of pharmaceutical. Then all you have to do is, or have to worry about the cost and the side effects, right? So if 7 IUs generics is giving you the side effects of 20 IUs pharmaceutical or 18 IUs pharmaceutical, then obviously it's not worth it, right? You get less GH for more side effects, whereas with pharmaceutical GH, the side effects are usually proportional to the amount of units. But if your side effects are proportional to the amount of units from the generic that you're taking, and acceptable water retention, the mineral retention, that kind of stuff, right? You're not too bloated and not too much carpal tunnel, the same you would expect from 7 IUs pharmaceutical, then by all means take generics during the off season. Now, you might see a difference during a cutting phase because you're leaner, you're on more drugs, you're on fat burners, that kind of stuff. If you're competing, I would just play it safe and stick with pharmaceutical. Because, well, you don't want to look back in your competition prep and then see, a little bit of fat left or a little bit of water retention, or you end up in second place and you're wondering why. Is it the difference between generics and pharmaceutical? In that case, or you make money with your body, like I do, for example. Like I would prefer pharmaceutical if I was in a cutting phase, but for the last off season when I was growing, I would just take 10 IUs generics because it's for me, it's almost free. So it's way cheaper than pharmaceutical. And again, pharmaceutical I need to import, and generics are available here locally. So it makes accessibility a little bit easier. So in this case, if the price is the same, but the results are better on generics, and because the serum levels are comparable for IO wise, right? Comparing pharma to generics, and the side effects are manageable, then just go with generics. But if you get worse side effects, like not all generics are the same. Pharmaceuticals are, let's say, a difference between 5%, right? Serostim and Norditropin is a little bit more favorable than some of the other brands. But, with generics, it can be a huge discrepancy. So if it's cheap generics because it's underdosed, your 7 IUs is actually 2 IUs, well, then you're obviously not going to get the results. But if you have good generics like the one I was using, right, the TP or BP, have to abbreviate it because you never know with YouTube. Those pharmaceuticals that are available, or generics that are available here, serum levels were good, but on the TP I had a lot more water retention than on the BP that I was running recently, which I'll reintroduce next week when I finish the gyno surgery. Or guess what, a little bit of growth hormone goes a long way. So yeah, I hope that makes it clear. Benjamin asks, is it okay to use Selank daily? Also, do you prefer Selank or Semax? I prefer Semax. It just gives me a little bit more clarity, helps with libido a little bit more, and I don't know, just feel better. Selank always makes me feel a little bit wired, a little bit too energetic, which I'm not against occasionally. But then again, I have bromantane in the house, I have dihexa in the house, all these nootropics. So as of recent, I've been taking more stimulatory nootropics in that class of stimulatory nootropics that are not Selank. But then when I want to improve my libido acutely, then it's a combination of Semax and oxytocin. So personally, I cycle through all of my nootropics, take them as needed, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like an alchemist. But yeah, if you really like Selank and you get a good result and you notice that you're sleeping better and you get good energy levels, and the brain-derived neurotropic factors are regulated, just like with Semax or cerebrolizin, then by all means use Selank every day until you start to notice side effects. And until you don't notice side effects, then I don't think it's a problem to take it daily. I know people who took it every day for like 6 months straight and didn't report any issues. Skull asks, for endurance athletes, my testosterone level came back at over 1500 nanograms per deciliter with just 150 tests split every 4 days, 75 milligrams. Okay, so it's even less than 150 milligrams per day, unless you're doing 3.5 days, like say Monday, Friday, which is what I prefer. HCG, 500 IOs 3 times per week. All right, so that explains why your serum levels are so high. 9 weeks ago was 750. I wanted to ask you, should I keep the dosage the same or lower it? I don't want to gas or lose my endurance. Currently 150 pounds. Thanks again. Congrats, future dad. Thank you. So you're an endurance athlete. I don't see you complaining about a testosterone level of 1500 nanograms per deciliter. So by all means, keep it here. Until you start to notice that your endurance goes down, you don't have any explosive power, you start to gas towards the end of the race or whatever competition you do. Until that moment comes, I don't see a reason to drop it. And even if you notice slight reduction in endurance, you can compensate for that with something like myoinositol tripyrophosphate or meldonium, right? What is it? Meldronate or Bemetil or Apoxin or basically everything that CN sells. I have to abbreviate everything nowadays. Can't be too careful. What else? Methylene blue, MOTS-C, right? The SLU-PP-332 might enhance your endurance. So if you start to notice that your endurance goes down and you can't compensate with endurance-enhancing, performance-enhancing drugs, what is that? EEPEDs? EEPEDs? Yeah. then yeah, you have to drop the dose down. And then in that case, I would drop the dose down of testosterone from 150 to 125 or 100 milligrams per week. Let's say 50 milligrams, 60 milligrams Monday, Friday, and then keep the HCG the same because, well, that's good for libido and good for your fertility. And well, if you're a cyclist, it might be hindering you, the HCG, because your nuts are now so large that there's no space for your quads, your nuts, your junk, and the little saddle that you're on. So again, you know, you're going to have to make some sacrifices somewhere. Yeah. So I'll leave that entirely up to you. But as long as your endurance is stellar, I don't see a reason to drop from 1500 nanograms per deciliter. Commissioned asks, I see a lot of people online say that ashwagandha needs to be cycled. In some ways is unfounded. I work in a high-stress restaurant. I take a dose once at night and once in the morning. Should I be taking breaks with it? Well, some people get anhedonia from ashwagandha root extract, but those are usually the guys that don't really live a healthy lifestyle. I hate to say it, but every time I see a guy get anhedonia from anything, they're usually doing things wrong. That's why I released the lifestyle video series, so you can get your head out of your ass and start living a healthy lifestyle. Anyway, I ran ashwagandha root extract for 4 years straight. Didn't have a problem. Didn't have a problem. Now, I'm not you. I also ran, modafinil for 7 years straight or 6 years straight at 50 milligrams per day. And then I stopped it to get my wife pregnant because there were some, negative results about fertility when I did the research. And and then after reintroducing it, I couldn't take it anymore. It just gave me a headache. So I guess your body changes. So as long as you get a good result, I wouldn't stop it. Maybe look into Gorilla Mind Calm and Gorilla Mind, what is it called? The cortisol blocker. The cortisol blocker has imodin, which prevents the production of cortisol. What was it? Corticosterone to cortisol. It inhibits that synthesis step through one of the enzymes that works in between. And then you have Gorilla Mind Calm that has ashwagandha root extract, phosphatidylserine, L-theanine, saffron extract, and I think that's it. Now let me link it down below just in case. Don't forget to use my discount code. It really helps a lot. Let me see. Calm. Gorilla Mind Calm. Don't mind me plugging some supplements, bro. Now, imodin is a separate product, so it has ashwagandha root extract, 300 milligrams, phosphatidylserine, 300 milligrams, rhodiola rosea, 300 milligrams, 200 milligrams L-theanine, and 15 milligrams saffron extract, which seems to be okay. I would prefer 30 milligrams saffron extract, but you can always supplement alongside of that. Give that one a try and see how much more of a beneficial effect you get compared to running ashwagandha root extract solo at 300 or 600 milligrams per day. All right, next one. Zionic asks, hey, Steve, planning on having a lady over. What's the best choice to make sure I have a rock-solid time? The names get me confused on the affiliate sites like MA. Yeah, so unfortunately, we're going to have to use the abbreviations. But if you go to my website, the abbreviations will make a lot of sense. So, sorry. We're trying to make sure that this channel remains unbannable going forward. So if you want to have a rock solid time, Twister, man. That's the best way to have a fun time because, it's just the two of you. You have to place your hands in certain circles, like the red circle, the blue circle, left hand, left foot, right foot, right? And then before you know it, you're on top of each other and you're rock hard. And then the rest, I'll leave it into your hands. So it's called Twister, right? That game. Not Twisters. Yeah, Twister, the fun party game. Yeah, do that. Yeah, or watch uh, the movie The Substance. Yeah, you'll have a rock hard time. Maybe she won't have a rock hard time, but now if you want to have a good time, obviously you need to be low stress. You need to have your hormone balance. You need to have in place. You need to make sure that you're well fed, so add a good enough amount of healthy fats in your diet, and then same for her. Right, low stress, well slept, well fed, and then you can take a glass of wine to lighten the mood, and then oxytocin, Semax to MPT 141 to kind of get your libido to the next level. But it's usually not the guy's libido that's a problem; it's her libido. So for that, you just need to have I don't know, personality, status, good physique. It goes a long way. So. Yeah, I don't know how you look. I don't know how you behave. I don't know if you have game. I don't know how you talk. I don't know if you have good body, right? But all of that goes a long way. But if you have all of it, you'll be rock hard and she'll be on the floor, slipping away. You put it in and she's like the other side of the room. That's how wet she is. All right. Well, I hope you learned something from Uncle Steve. How long? Renack asks, how long before sleep should I dose CJC 1295 no DAC and Ipamorelin to maximize nighttime growth hormone? I can't remember the half-life off the top of my head, but the nighttime pulse, let's say you go to bed at 10, 11 o'clock, then the nighttime pulse helps in around, or the biggest one occurs around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I would just dose it right before bed. I mean, you might get some flushing. I can't remember if you get flushing from CJC or Ipamorelin. But when I experimented with those, I would dose them right before bed. It's sub-Q, both at different sites, so the peptides can't interact with each other unless they're already pre-blended. Then you just do one shot, obviously. But I would just do them pre-bed, and then, with the half-life and the active life, it should stimulate the nighttime growth hormone pulse that you get to the nth degree, and then you get higher growth hormone levels and IGF-1 levels downstream. And don't forget to watch the growth hormone cheat sheet video that tells you exactly how you can enhance all these growth hormone pulses throughout the day with growth hormone secretagogues or over-the-counter supplements. Alvaro, what's up, bro? Timestamps, man. What's up, Steve? Wanted to ask, do you know about a relative reliable glucose monitor? I think a continuous glucose monitor like the Dexcom 7 is pretty reliable, or the ones that you can only get on prescription. They're like $1,500, which also have an insulin pump. Now, a Dexcom 7 I've seen people wear. I have plenty of people in the fitness industry wear Dexcom 7, and otherwise you have another one, but it doesn't link to your phone, so I wouldn't go with the other one. Just do a Dexcom 7. That seems to be the most reliable one. Of course, the Accutane and a couple of those other, blood prick, tests might be 10, 20% off, and they're inconsistently off, and it's a little bit annoying. But, a continuous glucose monitor, obviously, you need to stick on your arm, and then you have a little puncture wound. You need to rotate it around. So that's, maybe a little bit more cumbersome. And again, they're much more expensive than the Accuchecks. They're like $50. You can buy them in most pharmacies in most places on the planet. I think Alvaro's in Colombia, so you should be able to buy it over the counter in the pharmacy there. And they have a huge margin for error. And the Keto Mojo is also not 100% accurate, but it's sometimes the best you can do, and with keto measurements, I don't think there's even a continuous ketone monitor available on the market, unless I'm mistaken. I haven't looked into this in a very long time. But the Keto Mojo is pretty decent. The Accucheck, pretty decent, and similar products, pretty decent. And it's sometimes the best you can use, same as doing blood work with, comparing chemiluminescence, or let's see, chemi immunoassay. Yeah, CMIA, fuck, what was the abbreviation? CMIA. Just fucking Google it live on air. Chemiluminescent microparticle immunoassay and liquid chromatography, tandem mass spectrometry, LC-MS. That's the most accurate way. So you have a good enough way and a super highly sensitive, completely accurate way. But sometimes that's not available. Just like it's not available here in Thailand, right? And LC-MS is not available in a lot of places in the world, or it's very, very expensive. So you go with CMIA, and then you make best with what you got. So, obviously you can't do go to the hospital and do blood glucose measurements multiple different times if you're running insulin. You want to check your glucose levels upon waking, after fasted cardio, before or after meal one, or let's say before meal 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, post workout, before bed, all that kind of stuff. So either get a continuous glucose monitor like a Dexcom 7 or use the Accutane. I mean, that's what I used when I was dialing in my insulin dose years ago. And even though my fingertips still don't have much feeling, it it sure paid off from a size perspective. All right, let's get started with the member questions. More live, the better. Okay, that's good to hear. Varicose acid reflux or acid indigestion almost immediately, even when taking some sublingual cures. Is Halo would be less offensive on the stomach? No, if anavaricose is it, then halotestin and turinabol and Dianabol would cause that too. If oral steroids cause indigestion, watch the acid reflux video, which I have. I'm not going to link it anymore. You guys know how to find it, right? You guys know how to do the search function. If you know how to put a question in here, you can put the exact same, but the keywords of the question into the search function, and you get videos like for free. Let me interject real quick. Now, let me finish this thing. So, if you start supplementing with beta hydrochloride, whether that's with pepsin or Germain bitters or not, from Doctor's Best or another beta hydrochloride supplement, and apple cider vinegar, whether that's tablets or liquid, or Tudka or Odka or ox bile, or all these things to kind of help with digestion, right? It might not lower acid reflux to a certain extent, but at least help with fat absorption. But the beta hydrochloride should help by increasing the acidity of your stomach, and thus the mouth of the stomach stays closed. That's always what I ran, or apple cider vinegar. That's always what I ran when I was taking oral steroids. So, and recently I started with beta hydrochloride to kind of increase the acidity level because I got some adverse reaction from apple cider vinegar the last couple of months. So again, I'm trying to reinvent my digestion as we go along. So give beta hydrochloride or apple cider vinegar a try when you take your Anavar sublingually. And if that doesn't solve it in a week, then take the Anavar out and then give your digestion a break. Make sure you supplement with adequate amounts of glutamine. And just glutamine to make sure you have adequate building blocks for your stomach lining. Because if you increase the acidity of your stomach, then your stomach lining needs to be thicker as well. And for that, you need to supplement with glutamine, 5 grams to 10 grams per day. All right. Man. So let me interject real quick with a funny story. When I was in Holland, I did the Vigorous Q&A, right? I got banned, I got unbanned. I wanted to thank you guys, so I went live for about an hour right before I had dinner with my family. And then my mom was listening to me like, why aren't all these people asking you questions that you have videos about? I said, well, Mom, they're kind of lazy. I'd say it, guys, but some of you guys are fucking lazy. So they'd rather pay me to answer it for them and personalize it for them, even though I have videos about it that literally discuss everything at length, but sometimes in a lot more depth than I discuss in the personalized advice that I get for Super Chat, or that I provide for Super Chats. And she's like, they're paying you when they can get the advice for free? It made me laugh. So yeah, I'm gonna make about $200 to $500. No, not 500, but like in total. But YouTube takes a cut, obviously. So let's say net, it's like $200 to $300 per live stream, give or take, depending on how generous or lazy you guys are, right, with the super chats. She's like, I can't believe that people pay that much money for answering questions that you have videos about that they can watch for free. So yeah. If people watched it for free, then I wouldn't have a job, right? So made me laugh. She was so surprised. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next question. Talking about super chats. The super chat super flood has started. Anabolic Leo asks, will an increase in testosterone more than TRT dosages affect cardiovascular endurance other than weight gain being an obvious factor? Yeah, so that seems to be person dependent. So some guys can go to 150 tests and get great endurance, and then 200 tests lowers their endurance. I know guys that have great endurance on 500 tests. And again, it depends on, like I'm on 500 tests right now, right? My cardiovascular endurance is great, even though I'm 110 kilos and on 500 tests. But maybe it's because I dropped like 20 pounds, like from 120 to 110. So I'm breezing through the cardio sessions like it's nothing. Because I used to do cardio at 120 kilos, and even though I wasn't breezing through them, I still did it. And now that I'm doing cardio at 110 kilos, 20 pounds lower, 10 kilos lower, it's super fucking easy. So 110 kilos, 245 pounds, is that, or 252? What was it? kg to pounds, 110, 142 pounds. Yeah. 120 was, 120 was 265. I think the heaviest I was 121. Yeah, 267. Too heavy. I don't know how people do it. So yeah, for me, cardiovascular endurance right now is not an issue. I can do 30 minutes on the elliptical, no problem. But, and my serum levels are over 3,454.71. I think that's the upper tolerable detection limit here in Thailand at Bria Labs, which I made a video about last Thursday, live no less. So yeah, increase the dose and see what happens to your endurance. And again, 30 minutes on the elliptical for me might be a laughing or a stock compared to people who do 10 hours of endurance on a bicycle riding uphill, right? So my level of endurance, as long as I can do all the dishes and clean the house and all that kind of stuff and make love to my wife and not be out of breath, then I'm okay. Then I consider that my endurance is still good. Hey, Turns asks, recently added Masteron to my TRT protocol, 30 milligrams testosterone CPNA, 20 milligrams Masteron, appropriate every day. Have completely lost libido and pumps in the gym, but I feel amazing mentally and have more energy. Anything I could do to get my libido back? So we don't know what's causing your libido reduction, so it's time to do some blood work. Check your total testosterone, free testosterone. Check your estradiol levels, maybe estradiol levels. Check your DHA, DHA sulfate, pregnenolone levels, right? Check your SHBG levels. Did your libido go down because your estrogen went down because Masteron is acting as a reversely binding aromatase inhibitor? We don't know. Did your libido go down because you have more free testosterone, more free DHT, more free estrogens, and more free Masteron because your sex hormone binding globulin levels went down? We don't know. So before you make any changes, before I can give you any advice, do some blood work and report back next week or in 2 weeks when you have some blood work results. And in the meantime, watch the libido videos to get a firm grasp on why it's important to have normal hormone balance. And maybe supplement with some DHA, pregnenolone, and oxytocin and Semax, because that's probably cheaper and faster to acquire than doing blood work. But if that doesn't solve the problem, then you still need to do blood work and report back to us, or schedule a consultation, which are, man, kind of expensive now. It's from necessity. Otherwise, I'm on the phone every fucking day, the whole day. So in this case, I would say it could be low estrogen, could be low SHBG. But yeah, bring your SHBG up. What are you going to do? You're going to fast for a week? When you could also increase your libido by eating more food, right? Is your estrogen low? What are we going to do? Add in HCG, add in DHEA? Maybe your estrogen is not low. Maybe Masteron is not inhibiting your aromatase enzyme activity, and your estrogen is just as high. And then adding in the DHA and the HCG is actually increasing your estradiol levels, and now your dick still doesn't work. Maybe Masteron is not for you. Maybe you need primobolan. Blood work, bro. Blood work. And then we'll take it from there. Chris asks, methods on increasing progesterone when levels are undetectable and estradiol is consistently elevated. Dominant, right? HCG and pregnenolone already. Okay, so pregnenolone should convert into progesterone, and HCG should help with progesterone synthesis downstream. And if that didn't help, then there might be a compound that you're taking that is inhibiting the conversion of pregnenolone into progesterone. Off the top of my head, I don't know which one that is, but if you type in steroidogenesis on my YouTube channel and you search for that, then you'll get a video about steroidogenesis inhibitors. And there I list all of the compounds and medications and you know, flavonoids and soy lecithin, that kind of stuff that could potentially inhibit several steps in the sex hormone cascade. I do remember that there's a couple compounds that inhibit the synthesis or the conversion of pregnenolone into progesterone. Maybe your pregnenolone levels, maybe you need to take more, right? Maybe you didn't try high dosages enough. Maybe you need to go with 100 milligrams pregnenolone per day. But then again, if your estrogen is constantly elevated, then obviously pregnenolone can also convert into DHTA and then testosterone and then estradiol. So you might need to take more of an aromatase inhibitor or make some manipulations to reduce the conversion of testosterone into estradiol. And otherwise, you need to upregulate your mitochondrial function because you produce pregnenolone within the mitochondria and more mitochondrial activity. This is why I stopped taking pregnenolone supplementation a long time ago, because I'm focusing on my mitochondria with methylene blue, MOTS-C, SLU-PP-332, ubiquinol, pyrroloquinone, quinone, PQQ. Did I say ubiquinol or PQQ? Ubiquinol and PQQ. Shilajit fulvic acid to help with the absorption of ubiquinol. And so my mitochondria are just on fire, and my pregnenolone levels are decently produced to the point that my progesterone levels have been in range ever since, and I haven't touched pregnenolone supplementation for a very long time. So again, you know, these are all things that you can look into. But having bottomed out progesterone levels is not the end of the world, because you can get plenty of collagen synthesis from other compounds like testosterone, Anadrol, Anavar, and estradiol for that matter. And well, you're not in gestation, so you don't need to anything to have a progestational effect. And then otherwise you supplement with 100 to 400 milligrams of micronized progesterone before bed, and then well, you can stop taking GHB as well, because fuck, that puts you to sleep. Holy moly. DB tuned. Would using growth hormone every other day opposed to every day be better for insulin sensitivity, even if the total weekly dose is the same? So that's what I did on the previous bulk. I did 10 IUs Monday, Thursday, and 20 IUs Tuesday, Friday. So that's 60 IUs per week. So that's a little bit less than I was taking before at 10 IUs per day. So that's 70 IUs daily, right? And or weekly. But that was during a cutting phase, and this was during the off season. Now, I didn't eat copious amounts of carbohydrates. I ate copious amounts of healthy fats, and it was working very well for me. I was, again, 120 kilos on a cycle. That was pretty moderate. So I would consider that a success, and the size is still there. I haven't trained in like 4 weeks. Look at this shit. Hard and dense. Muscle maturity. So I didn't notice any changes in my insulin sensitivity, but for you, just give it a try. Maybe train it post-workout 4 to 5 times per week on workout days, and then you take it before bed, and then during the day you take your carbohydrates, and you make sure that by the time you go to bed, the 4 hours ago was the last time you had carbohydrates, so there's no interference with your insulin sensitivity when growth hormone is liberating these free-form fatty acids, which could inhibit insulin substrate 1 and make insulin not work, right? So otherwise, you take a little bit of berberine with that to restore a little bit of insulin sensitivity, so you take a little bit of berberine and growth hormone, even though it can lower your IGF-1 pulse, so you win some, you lose some. I know, give it a try. Go by your hemoglobin A1C levels, go by your fasting insulin levels, go with your blood glucose levels in between meals, and make the adjustments. But I've used growth hormone every day with high carbohydrates and didn't lose insulin sensitivity. Right, that's just me. Next, super chat. Told you it was going to be a super chat super flood, and this is $20, man. Thank you very much. On TRT, 180 pounds body weight, 10% body fat, healthy. Fuck yeah, Anton, why are you here? You don't need to ask me any questions. I'll still take you $20 though. Rate my first Mast cycle, 30 weeks, testosterone propionate and primo, 360 milligrams, testosterone cypionate, 360 milligrams and 150 milligrams primo per week. GH, 4 IUs per day, L-carnitine, 500 milligrams per day. Last 8 weeks, Anavar, 20 milligrams per day. 300 grams of protein, up the calories if gained stall, train 5 times per week. On hand, Aromasin, Nebivolol, Ezetimibe. Well, I feel bad for taking your $20 because this looks perfect to me. Obviously, well, your fat intake needs to be there. Right, so I would do 1 gram per pound of body weight. No, sorry, half a gram per kilo, not per pound. Half a gram of fat per body weight. So that would be per pound of body weight. So that would be 90 grams of fat to start. And then you make the rest up with carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrate sources with a good amount of micronutrients, like a combination of rice and quinoa, for example. Maybe mix in a little bit of sweet potato to slow the digestion, good amount of healthy fruit and vegetables in your diet. And then you reduce the vegetables over time as the food volume increases. And then once the carbohydrates reach a certain amount, then you can actually lower your protein intake because carbohydrates are actually very protein sparing. So if you're eating 500 grams of protein or 600 or 800 grams of carbs, if you're eating 500 grams of carbohydrates or more, then you can actually start lowering your protein to 250, 225, 200. Yeah, it's scary to do, but it works. And that way you don't have this slowing of your digestion from the protein and the fat sources. Obviously, the fat sources still need to be in place, right? But that slows your digestion. And so does protein. And if you want to make some serious gains on this protocol, again, you're running, 500 milligrams of steroids per week. So at one point, you're going to have to up the dose to, let's say, 500 tests and 250 primo, as an example. If 5-AU is a growth hormone. Then, in the meantime, you can lower your protein, increase the carbohydrates, and keep your fat intake proportional to your body weight. And then all you have to do is follow the logbook, right? Keep training hard. It's not rocket science. So, right, it seems like you got everything locked in. Nebivolol can slow your heart rate to make bulking a little bit easier. But it can also cause more accumulation of body fat. So maybe instead of Nebivolol, you use telmisartan to control your blood pressure if needed. Ezetimibe, I'm sure you'll need. Aromasin, maybe not, depending on your body fat levels and how much fat you gain. So maybe this ratio of 2-to-1, give or take, of testosterone to primobolan is sufficient to keep your estradiol levels in range. And again, with growth hormone, you see that the aromatase enzyme expression is a little bit reduced, especially the longer you use it. So you get less aromatization, especially if you start bumping up the dosages to 10 IUs, for example. That seems to be a finance thing. But yeah, I think this is a great start. And then you just need to make adjustments as you go along. Maybe look into YK11 instead of Anavar. Yeah. And I'm bullish on YK11, but you watch a deep dive next week. Let's see. Christopher asks, on 150 milligrams TRT, going to use EQ as an AI on 600 milligrams test E due to a long half-life. Should I start it before increasing the test? Estradiol and liver, or testing estradiol and liver enzymes every 30 days. No, I would just start it at the same time. It's fine, man. It's because most of these, regardless of ester, most of these compounds will peak within 24 to 48 hours. So you inject your EQ. Let's say you do a 1-to-1 ratio, 600 tests, 600 EQ. Now, that's a bit of a jump from 150 milligrams TRT. So right, watch the step-by-step cycle design videos, just like this guy before you. He starts low, and then I'm assuming he's building his way up, right, in food, training intensity, and also drugs. And if you're going to use 600 tests and 600 EQ, fuck, man, that's like 10 times the amount, almost. So how about we do, well, it sucks, but 200 tests, 200 EQ, 300 tests, 300 EQ. Personally, if I was on TRT, I would start with 200 tests and 200 EQ, man. Make the most gains as I can for 4 to 8 weeks and then increase to 300 or maybe 350. Yeah, it's boring, but why take more than you need? Yeah, you can only grow so fast, right? So unless you're a freak, and unless you're like 240 pounds like I am, and even then I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, some guys like to make that big jump, and in which case you probably get more side effects than are good for you. So if I were you, I would do 200 tests, 200 primo, or 200 tests, 200 EQ, and then run that for as long as you can make gains. Then 300, 350 each. In the meantime, you do blood work, check your estradiol levels so you see if that ratio is still okay. A 1-to-1 ratio, you need to change that. And then maybe after 6 months or 9 months, you end up at 600 testy and 600 EQ. So even me, dude, it took me, before I pushed over a gram, I was on cycle for fucking 8 months. Yeah. So that's a long time. I hope you're that patient. Brendan. Hey, Steve, I'm eating 180 grams of salmon per day. Is it fine if I add a little bit high quality sardines on top of it and not need to worry about mercury? Off the top of my head, I can't remember how much mercury or lead is in sardines. I think it's pretty low. I think you can eat sardines every day. But otherwise, you just go to ChatGPT and then you ask it which fish sources are safe to eat daily. I think sardines is in there. Like tuna, for example, you should definitely not eat daily, maybe once a week, right? And a couple other fish sources as well. So feel free to add it in, man. And then you get sardines in water, not in olive oil, because it's a lot of additional fats. And the olive oil that they usually use is not the olive oil you would get yourself, like the extra virgin olive oil that kind of burns on the way down. And if it's not burning on the way down, then it's not extra virgin olive oil, it's something else. Yeah. Ryan, insulin resistance. What are the dietary interventions, supplementation, then drug solutions? Are you familiar with pancragen? No, I'm not familiar with that. But with insulin resistance, in most cases, you just need to lower your carbohydrate intake and do more activity. It's a lifestyle thing, man. It's food and activity. It's that simple. You don't need chromium, you don't need berberine, you don't need magnesium, you don't need vitamin D3, you don't need any of that. Dietary interventions solve insulin resistance. Dude, fast for 3 days. I promise you, fast for 3 days and you'll fix it. Take the growth hormone out, you'll fix it. You don't need to do anything. Dude, after I came back from New Zealand eating like a fucking asshole, I'm sure I had insulin resistance. I was bloated. I was fat. I look oxidized. My lower back and my abs and my chest was like full with water. My face looked like a balloon. And then I was sick of it, right? After I came back. So I fasted for 4 days. And then I did my blood work and it was fine. You know, my fasting insulin levels were 2.6. My hemoglobin A1C was 5. My blood glucose levels were 69. Yeah, I discussed all of this last Thursday, but I can't remember seeing your username, Ryan. It's okay. I'm sure you were busy. That's why you're asking here. But insulin resistance, all those fat people that you see at McDonald's, all those fat people that you see at Disney World, not Universal Studios because the seats are smaller. They don't like fat people. They don't allow fat people in those fast rides. But at Disneyland, they cater to everybody, especially fat people in those trolleys. Yeah, ask them to fast for 3 to 4 days, and they'll fix all their problems. They'll be less noisy. They fart less. They'll look less obnoxious. Maybe they need to fast for like a lifetime to really get over their hump of fat rolls over that they're rolling over their little motorcycles. But dude, diet fixes insulin resistance. Supplementation, if you fix your diet, you don't need it. Drug solutions, you don't need supplementation if you fix your diet. And pancragen, it's probably a medication that people who don't want to fix their diet need when they have insulin resistance. And even with high dose growth hormone levels, man, intake, high dose growth hormone, I've yet to see anybody experience insulin resistance if they live the lifestyle, which is diet and exercise. And it's too tiresome and too boring. And yeah, but why are you taking all these drugs if you're not living a lifestyle? Anyway, high cholesterol, same diet. Next. But if you can't fix your diet and you're taking performance-enhancing drugs that are known to increase cholesterol, then ezetimibe, and otherwise statins. Evolucumab. No, I'm not familiar. Bonus 2 issues related in the solution addressed mode. Ezetimibe addresses high cholesterol, and otherwise statins. And then you can, what is this? PKS9 inhibitor, right? If you have that much disposable income, you can't fix. Dude, I think you can hire a private chef for the same money you spent on a PKS9 inhibitor. Let me check. PKS9 inhibitors cost. Yeah. All right. After 2018, the price for PKS9 inhibitors is $5,900 per year. All right. Private chef, one time a week. 50 divided by 52. Can you find a private chef for $100 over the weekend? In Thailand, you can. Maybe in front of Home Depot, you can find one. A lot of enchiladas you'll be eating, which is not a bad thing. Tasty. But yeah, dude, I think for the price of PKS9 inhibitors, you can just hire a private chef, and then you get all of your dietary interventions if you address them correctly. So lower your dietary cholesterol intake. I don't want to hear anything about dietary cholesterol doesn't affect serum cholesterol. Yes, it fucking does, dude. Go eat 10 eggs per day and see your total cholesterol and your LDL levels increase. Especially if you're on steroids, it increases more. So citrus bergamot is a supplementation, ezetimibe is the drug solutions, and then later on statins. And again, those are all reasonably inexpensive, but diet is the best way, man. And the only reason why you would take ezetimibe is if your diet is perfect, but you're also on copious amounts of anabolic androgenic steroids, which are known to increase cholesterol synthesis in the liver and peripheral tissue. And then your total cholesterol and LDL levels obviously go up in serum because you're not excreting it properly, and ezetimibe and maybe Tutka or Utka can promote the excretion thereof. So, but yeah, all those statins, I don't think are necessary. PKS9 inhibitors and evolucumab, also not necessary because you can do so much good with the first couple ones, unless you're just, a fat piece of shit and a lazy piece of shit, which then you have no business being on this YouTube channel. Life is dope. All right, ask a question. Let's see if there's... Again, guys, do me a solid and ask the question in the super chat at the same time so we can save some time. I see life is dope. $10. Octavian, no SARMs, no hide, no... No, if you see somebody ask for a hide protocol, just block them, man. I don't give a shit. Just block them. You can. Who did it? All right, life is dope. I don't see your... oh, here it is. I was overlooking it. Let's see. Forgot to write my message in the first super chat, but how would I go about running a growth hormone only cycle? And are there any benefits for bodybuilding? No. Like, I wouldn't take more than a replacement dose of growth hormone, let's say up to 2 IUs, maybe 3 IUs growth hormone per day. And then all you can expect is bigger nail growth, better hair growth, and better skin growth. So you fill in those wrinkles, right? All those wrinkles here and all the shit here will be filled in. So you get an anti-aging effect from a cosmetic perspective. You look a little bit younger, unless you overdo it, and then you look older again, because now you not only fill in those wrinkles, you also fill this in, and then everything starts to sink, and it literally looks like your face is melting. Not naming any names, but I'm sure you can name some IFB pros off the top of my head where it looks like their faces are melting because it takes so much growth hormone. So there's a nice balance between growth hormone and anti-aging effect, from a cosmetic perspective. But for bodybuilding, again, age patients don't look very anabolic to me. It might keep you leaner. I mean, I would love to see like one of those hardcore natural guys at their end of their genetic potential go on growth hormone and then see how much of a difference they make. And I have a couple candidates that I know, but they just don't want to take it. Right? Like that world championship bodybuilder, the WNBF champion that lives here in Thailand, Dirk Emmerich. Like, dude, if he goes on a little bit of growth hormone, you definitely see some difference, right? He's already peeled, and he has good muscularity when he's peeled, and he doesn't get too fat. So if he goes on 1 or 2 IUs of growth hormone, if he ever wanted to, if he decide to pull the plug on the Natty card, Natty gives that in, and he starts with growth hormone first, he would make some changes because he's a hardcore bodybuilder. He lives the lifestyle and knows exactly what to do, and you could see immediate effects. But for general population, dude, cosmetic, that's it. Again, unless life is dope, you're a hardcore bodybuilder, right? And you want to give it a try. you know, but most guys then would resort to MK677 so they can eat more. And you'll probably get more out of the food increase than you get out of growth hormone and IGF-1 increase. Again, Octavian, if you see SARMs or HIDE protocols, just fucking bang them, man. It's this channel's for intelligent people, and intelligent people don't ask those kind of questions. Again, this YK11 is approved. That's the only SARM that's now Vigorous Steve approved. Christos here. Hey King, thank you. 1.5 after PCT. 1.5 weeks, 1.5 months. Just Clomid 4 weeks, and sperm count isn't good. Rapid test abnormal. HCG will get a wife pregnant or Clomid for another 4 weeks. Gonna do blood work this week. Okay, so you need 9 months, or sorry, 90 days after you finish PCT for semen parameters to improve. I'll address this in the fertility video, so just wait for that. I think 1 or 2 weeks it should be ready or online, because it will be a long video and then editing and then proof watching at the draft. So we'll take let's say 2 weeks before that's ready. And if it's any earlier, then be joyful. It will be in time before you need to make any significant changes to get your wife pregnant, I promise. So for now, what I'm going to say, if you're 1.5 months after post-cycle therapy and you just use Clomid, your sperm count isn't good yet. It's because you're impatient and you need longer. So give it another, let's say 30, you're 45 days in, give it another 45 days. And then you start at 0. Right? So in 45 days, you basically, you can do the first semen analysis of the semen that wasn't produced on cycle, but was produced when you started Clomid. And even then, 4 weeks of Clomid, how high your LH and FSH levels are going to be. So when you finish your PCT, 90 days later, so that's 45 and then 30, 85. So let's say 90 days from now, you just finish your, oh no, you're 1.5 weeks after PCT. So, well, let's say 2 months from now, check it again, and then it will be better unless your LH and FSH levels aren't good. So I would check your serum levels of luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, total testosterone, estradiol, SHBG, etc., to see if you need HCG and FSH therapy because you didn't recover properly from your PCT. You can try another 4 weeks of clomiphene, but usually the second time doesn't really work from what I've seen. So yeah, check your LH and FSH levels. If they're like 2, 3, 4 milliIUs per milliliter, just give it time for your semen parameters to improve. But if they're 0.5 to 1 or undetectable, HCG and FSH, man, I'll explain everything in the deep dive. It'll be free. You don't need to super chat. But you're just going to have to wait. I can make a million videos at the same time. Test 350. Black Cowboy Boogie asks, testosterone 350, masterone 200, intramuscular daily. Is that 350 test and 200 masterone intramuscularly daily, or 350 test and masterone over the week, but you're injecting that intramuscularly daily? Estradiol could be 134 picograms per milliliter in both contexts. Anyway, I'm going to assume that's a weekly dose. Because if you're doing that daily, well, you better ask Chase Irons, man. Also, I never injected that. Well, did I? No, that's not true. Not that much in total, but 350 times 7. Yeah, I've taken that much. I've taken 2.5 grams of test per week. But my estradiol was not that high. Took 25 milligrams aromacin every other day and 3,000 milligrams calcium diglucarate daily for 5 weeks. Got retested. Estradiol is 47.5. Should I continue protocol or increase aromacin? No, I think an estradiol of 47.5 is good on this testosterone to masterone ratio. You could increase the masterone maybe and get some sort of aromatase inhibiting effect. Again, it doesn't work for everybody, but for some people it does. Maybe increase the zinc. Look at the metformin, Cialis. They all have aromatase or estradiol lowering effects. I have several videos about aromatase enzymes and lowering estradiol levels on my YouTube channel. Give those a watch to get some additional ideas. Maybe you need to supplement with 200 milligrams diethylmethane. I don't believe that inhibits the androgen receptors at all. It's only been established in prostate cancer, so why not run it to prevent prostate cancer? let's see. So if you're taking 25 milligrams every other day of aromasin, feel free. Maybe you do aromasin Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 times per week instead of every other day, 3.5 times per week. And then check your serum estradiol levels 4 weeks from now. See where that's at. But I have no problem with an estradiol level of 47.5. Actually, I have currently no problem with an estradiol level of 130, even though my gyno is giant as fuck. That was the goal. Oh yeah, and don't forget to like. That's what Slick Motion Garage says. 222 people watching and only 39 likes. Come on. Is it really that bad? It's kind of like a meme, right? It's like a super flood of a chat of super floods, or yeah, but nobody likes. It's too much effort. They'd rather pay than like. I don't get you guys, man. You'd rather pay than like. You'd rather pay than use the search function. Oh man, I still can't believe I have a job. Oh well. Multiple sclerosis asks, exogenous DHT will cause HPTA shutdown, right? Yeah, if you rub it on your penis, which I mentioned in the bathmate protocol with DHT and BBC 157 and growth hormone, etc. If you rub DHT cream on your penis or you take DHT sublingually, yes, it can cause HPTA shutdown because it's a hormone. So whether you take DHT sublingually to enhance your libido acutely, or you rub it on your penis to enhance your erections acutely and long term, yes, it can cause HPTA shutdown. Now, if you're on steroids, it's not a problem. But if you're natural, then yeah, it's not a good idea. You're taking a steroid. What do you think is going to expect? Vara, what's up, my dudes? Just joined in. I'm all for more lives. Okay, cool. What's up, Octavian? Benjamin, I've running out of HCG for a week, then just reintroduced it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. How many doses would I need to get off HCG to get an acute reading on my estradiol? I would say a week. Within a week is usually enough. Like when I designed that protocol about HCG monotherapy, you can increase it every week, right? From 250 IOs HCG 3 times per week to 500 IOs to 1,000 IOs 3 times per week to 1,000 IOs every day. But some people, they might get a little bit of anxiety every time they increase the dose. So I changed that from 1 week to 2 weeks. But within 1 week, you see that serum estradiol levels are generally quite high, especially if you've been running HCG previously. Now, if you're blasting your socks off for 10 years, never touched HCG, and then you reintroduce it, then it might take a little bit longer because your nuts have been shut down for such a long time that it might take longer than a week for your estradiol levels to budge, or your testosterone levels to budge, or your spermatogenesis to improve. But yeah, I will discuss that in the fertility video also. But in your case, if you stopped it for a week, just reintroduce it for a week, check your estradiol levels, send it over to me, and we'll discuss it. Anabolic Leo, daily micro injections over better than say 3 times per week when it comes to performance, aromatase, hematocrit levels, etc. Yeah, so from my personal experience, daily subcutaneous micro administrations give the best serum levels. That's less possibility of testosterone converting into estradiol or reducing, reducing into testosterone. So your levels are more stable and your serum estradiol and your DHT levels are lower in serum. How much that translates into the peripheral tissue, right? I mean, aromatase enzymes are active within the cells, and then testosterone enters the cells, might get aromatase or 5-alpha reduced within the scalp, right? In adipose tissue, it gets reduced or converted into estradiol. And then some of that spills back over into the bloodstream. So the bloodstream might not be 100% accurate representation of what's going on within the cells, right? If testosterone aromatases into estradiol and then it attaches to the estrogen receptor and starts transcribing DNA, then obviously this estradiol is now glucuronidated or sulfated and then marked for excretion. Now, you can still detect it in serum in that way, but in the cells, there's also enzymes that break it down locally into small little fragments. And the same thing happens with DHT. Some of that spills over into the bloodstream, some of that attaches to the androgen receptor, gets glucuronidated or sulfated or broken down. And then you can, when it gets broken down, you can no longer detect it. So in serum, it's not 100% accurate of what's going on in the body, but it's the best we have, unless you want to do biopsies, which I don't think it's the case. So go by your serum levels, go by how you feel, go by your estrogen levels, go by your DHT levels, go by your hematocrit, and then take it from there. Right now, I'm injecting 3 times per week intramuscularly because my shots, I'm injecting 300 testosterone enanthate and 200 testosterone propionate mixed in a sterile vial. Right, I injected Monday, Wednesday, Friday intramuscularly because I want to give you my subcutaneous space a little bit of a break after doing so many shots sub-Q. Like fuck, man, I was like literally a pincushion at the end of the previous off-season cycle, injecting copious amounts of various stuff. So right now I'm just doing, some massage therapy on my subcutaneous space, going intramuscular, and then preparing the subcutaneous space for another cycle. And in the meantime, just cruising on 500 tests. Yeah, yeah, man. Otherwise, I'm gonna shrink, dude. I'm gonna be immobile. I'm doing it for anti-sarcopenia purposes. After surgery, I have a valid medical reason. But yeah, generally speaking, daily subcutaneous microadministrations are the best to keep serum estradiol and serum DHT level is in a range, which should be a decent representation of what's going on in the tissue. And then hematocrit levels and other markers which might be affected from steroids should be better managed as well. When will the methylene blue cerebrolacin deep dive coming out? So first I got to do the how to get your wife pregnant. And then it kind of depends on you guys. What do you want to see first, cerebrolacin or methylene blue? Let me know. Let me know. Both are like 50% done. I would lean more towards methylene blue and then cerebrolacin. But if you guys really want to see the cerebrolacin video, then I'll do that first. But yeah, how to get your wife pregnant is first. And you guys were nagging me so much about the YK11 deep dive that I just decided to put the pedal to the metal and then get it done. So it's done. It's next week, Monday, Tuesday. And you fuckers better well watch it. And you fuckers better well like it and leave some comments. So I feel incentivized to make more deep dives. Fuck. And it's an Anadrol deep dive. Soon. I'm in a good rhythm now. I promise you, I'm in a good rhythm again, man. I had like so much work. Like, dude, when your wife is pregnant, you have to do so much research. So much research. And I had to go on holiday. Give me a break. I need to go on a fucking holiday. And then I needed some time to kind of get my composure back after drinking a lot of alcohol, like total overcompensation behavior. But, I need a break too. And I didn't want to work today, and I still worked. I still worked 8 hours on how to get your wife pregnant video. Oh, you guys have no idea how much I work. When is it done? It's done when it's done, but when it's done, it's fucking good. You gotta admit it, man. When my work is done, it's fucking good. It's better than anybody else's. Fucking admit it. Hit that like button if you feel the same way. When Steve releases a deep dive, it's better than anybody else's. Like, I'm not the most muscular guy, not the most shredded guy, not the most handsome guy, but when I release a deep dive, you better well grab your fucking popcorn because you know it's going to be good. It's a fucking masterpiece. Hit that like button if you agree. And if I see anybody of you disliking, then I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm gonna retire. No, retiring is not a possibility right now because I got too many haters, and retiring means that they win. So I'd like to keep going, bitches. Manos, I heard you mention enclomiphene in previous videos, but not tamoxifen. Do you prefer it over tamoxifen? I never like any of these unless it's for PCT purposes. So people ask me about enclomiphene or clomid because I want to do monotherapy, which I always advise against because both of these are linked to blood clots, and most of the selective estrogen receptor modulators are linked to blood clots. So for post-cycle therapy, enclomiphene and clomiphene work more to an effect than tamoxifen, but tamoxifen also works, especially when you take it in combination with enclomiphene, because tamoxifen has a metabolite that acts as an aromatase inhibitor. So not only do you lower estradiol levels, you also block it at the receptor site, and now lower estradiol levels and estrogen blockade, or estrogen receptor blockade, means increased luteinizing hormone levels and increased follicle-stimulating hormone levels, and then your dick starts to work again, not to the extent that it was on cycle, but close enough. Close enough, right? Your balls will start working properly. But your dick, it's like driving at 30 kilometers per hour, man. And tamoxifen we generally use again for post-cycle or to block the estrogen the estrogen receptors in the nipple. But then raloxifene is better, albeit that the dose is 3 times higher. So instead of 20 milligrams tamoxifen, or 6 times higher, instead of 10 milligrams tamoxifen, you use 60 milligrams raloxifene. Instead of 20 milligrams tamoxifen, you use 120 milligrams raloxifene. And at the highest dose, raloxifene is a lot better to shrink the gyno, but it will never go away. And it will come back when you stop taking the raloxifene. So why take it when it's linked to blood clots? Just do the surgery, bro. I have videos in this too. Just type it in. Tamoxifen, raloxifene, and clomiphene monotherapy. I have videos in this shit. How to use L-carnitine injection for weight loss? Well, you lower your caloric intake first. Then you do your cardio. You track your calories. And then you take 500 milligrams injectable L-carnitine subcutaneously or intramuscularly before activity, and it could be fasted cardio or before the workout. You're welcome. Hey, King, stop coming up to my ego. You know when he married that girl, he came up to his ego. You know which stand-up comedy that is? OGs will know. I already answered this question. So sorry for being late. What do you think about donepezil, Wellbutrin, or drugs that influence acetylcholine are used for entrepreneurs? I have no idea. I remember talking about what is it called? Fluvoxamine and vortioxetine, because they're both linked to increased brain-derived neurotropic factor levels in the brain consistently. I like fluvoxamine, but some guys like vortioxetine. But I didn't look into donepezil, Wellbutrin. So yeah, I'm not sure. Could be if they increase acetylcholine levels. But then again, it's an SSRI, right? So, or Wellbutrin is SNDRI or SD. I can't remember off the top of my head. So, yeah, look into it. But I would rather supplement with choline, alpha GPC, than go on Wellbutrin. But yeah, I know people on Wellbutrin that say that they feel absolutely amazing and they're high-level, high-performing entrepreneurs making a boatload of cash, because that's why they can afford me for consultations. Let's see how many guys. Yeah, 4 or 5 guys that I talk to regularly on Wellbutrin. Not donepezil, but Wellbutrin. Yeah, so there's something to say for it. I'll ask them next time I talk with them. Looking good, Steve. All right, thank you. Question below. Added 150 milligrams boldenone cypionate. Oh, post-injection pain in a bottle. Oh, 1 second, guys. It's getting freaking cold here. Let's see. 150 milligrams boldenone cypionate this week in with testosterone primo. Keeps me pretty dry. Went up 3 kilos. No estrogen effects. Blood pressure the same, but seem watery. Is that normal? No real changes to diet and exercise. Labs next week. So it could be that the boldenone cypionate is produced in synthetic carrier oil, and it is causing you some inflammation and thus water retention. And if you have terrible post-injection pain, then you definitely have an inflammatory response, which will cause you to hold water. So I would do blood work ASAP, check your high sensitivity C-reactive protein levels and your estradiol, and that's basically it, what could indicate water retention. And if both are exactly the same and the water retention persists, then you either need to suck it up and suffer through it, or take the boldenone cypionate out and take more primo. All right? It's up to you. Oh, Eric, welcome to the Vigorous crew, bro. Matthew Pete asks, look at that thumbnail, dude. Jacked selfies in the mirror. That's what you sent to the girls. So I miss you. And you send this picture, and they're all fucking moist and shit. I do that to my wife too, but then I'm not wearing any pants. Babe, look at this. I'm coming home right away. Test Primo Anavar is doing amazing for me at the minute and giving me that Arnold look. Well, I wouldn't say Arnold, but you look good. Is adding Mast on top of Primo worth going for a drier look to finish me off my cut, or should I use Winstrol? If you want to be absolutely dry, I would use both. But if you want to minimize side effects, I would just use Masteron. Because Winstrol will dry out your joints, make you a little bit prone to injury. Masteron doesn't have that effect. Test Primo, Masteron, Anavar shouldn't cause any injuries, just make you look a little bit drier. But if you want to go for the maximum dryness, the least amount of water retention, including in your joints and connective tissue, then Masteron and Primobolan is what it is. Right? Are you stepping on stage? Are your body fat levels lower than 8%? Are you making money? Right? Women are, take it from me, women don't like microveins, but they do like that lean, dry look at, let's say, 8% body fat. So Test Primo, Anavar, Masteron will be good. And then if you want to have some extra veins on your cock to wow and impress, shock and awe, and add some Winstrol. Yeah, it's completely up to you, man. How bad are your lipids right now? They're going to be worse when you add in the Winstrol. I promise you. They're going to be absolute trash. Thomas asks, hey, Steve, I know you don't care about hair, but thoughts on running RU 58841 215 607 814 314 and a boatload of other numbers, or Testosterone to combat hair loss from Primo Masteron. Horror stories seem to be related to heart issues. I never really researched these compounds. I know that RU is a topical androgen receptor blocker, so that might work when you're taking testosterone and masteron and primobolan. Right? It's blocking the androgen receptor, so primobolan, masteron, testosterone, testosterone can't attach and cause hair loss. And clascoterone, I'm not really sure what that. Let me do a quick. Treat acne. Is an androgen receptor inhibitor, competes with DHT. Okay, so that's also a topical androgen blocker, but it's an acne medication. Yeah, with these kinds of things, you just gotta do some research and see if it's worth the risk. Like, I'm not sure if they're related to heart issues, because I like androgen receptor upregulation. I would not think about blocking the androgen receptors, and if that means losing my hair, which I don't give a shit about, clearly, then yeah, so be it, dude. Fuck, it would save me so much trouble trimming this shit. But yeah, if it's worth it to you, do some research and then make an assessment. Like Primo Masteron, come with issues of their own. So, yeah, and horror stories, like, to say it, but all these guys that really care about hair loss, they don't really seem like healthy people to me. And guys that are really healthy, that keep their stress levels low and their inflammation low and eat all the micronutrients, it seems that their hair loss prevention strategy is significantly less than the guys that really abuse their body with an unhealthy lifestyle. Right? Of course, if you're highly stressed and you're smoking and drinking and taking recreational drugs and you're not eating right, then your hair loss is going to be way worse. And they have no business taking Primo Masteron, but some of them still do. And then they megadose the RU and the clascoterone or topical ketoconazole and minoxidil, etc. Right? And they really abuse that shit. And then it goes systemic, and then they get heart issues. Which, is it related to the RU or the minoxidil or the shitty lifestyle that gave them hair loss? I don't really know, man. I see people improve their hairline just with a healthy diet. Yeah, and then there's their hair thickness and their complexion and all that stuff. But again, live the lifestyle and then look into these compounds. But eventually, if you like taking steroids, you're going to get bolder, and otherwise you need to limit it to TRT, which it's kind of boring. It's kind of boring. Yeah, another guy. Phenoxy and minoxidil. Yeah, take it all at the same time. Yeah, I don't know. It comes with issues, man. Watch the steroidogenesis inhibitor video. I've seen so many issues with libido. All these guys that take RU or finasteride, dutasteride, minoxidil, ketoconazole, they care so much about their hair that they kill their dick or their cognition. Fuck, man. I'd rather go bald. Shirudo Systems. I'll be doing an 8-week cycle of testosterone cypionate and oxandrolone at 300 milligrams testosterone cypionate per week and 25 milligrams oxandrolone per day to keep cholesterol levels in check. I have Tutka, milk twistle. Throw that away. It doesn't work. Citrus bergamot works. Would you take all three or just one? I would take Tutka, citrus bergamot, and diazepam. Yeah. Throw the milk twistle away. That doesn't do shit for cholesterol levels. Niacin doesn't do anything for cholesterol levels on cycle. Red yeast rice works, but I'd rather try it with citrus bergamot first. Let's see. Garlic extract doesn't really work. Right? Eating healthy will work. And an 8-week cycle of testosterone cypionate and oxandrolone. How about you do 8 weeks of testosterone cypionate and then 8 weeks of testosterone cypionate and oxandrolone? Make it 16 weeks so you can actually gain some fucking muscle. And then you can see how your body responds to testosterone cypionate with Tutka and citrus bergamot. See how your lipids are. They're probably still fine. And then you add in the ezetimibe as soon as you add in the oxandrolone, run it for another 8 weeks, and then you'll see that your lipids are still fine, albeit that your HDL is significantly lower, but your total cholesterol and LDL is still good or maybe even better than before. Or lower, right? Better remains to be debated. Still, scientific evidence is inconclusive, so I would not take any risks. Mike Freeman, hey coach, hope you're well. Looking lean, bro. Yeah, better than before, right? Eating a little bit better according to the food allergy test. Like, dude, I take it so serious that this is my screen. Like, you can see like what I can and can't eat. Yeah. So before, this was a picture of my ass or my back. And now it's a picture of all the food I can and can't eat. Actually, they also gave me like a nice little card of all the foods I shouldn't be eating, so you're always reminded. So yeah, that did wonders for my face and my digestion. Like now my stomach is way better. My question is about Anadrol and its fat-burning properties. What's the mechanism behind it? I have no idea. Anecdotally, people report that they get leaner on oxymetholone. There might be something in the scientific evidence, but what the exact mechanism behind it is, it could be from the fat loss, could be maybe from lipid metabolism, from the non-genomic effects increasing your sensory nervous system and strength output. I'm not sure. So I'll need to do an oxymetholone deep dive at one point. But nandrolone I got to get out of the way first. And before I do the nandrolone, I got cerebralized and methylene blue to do. Because those are sellers. And if you talk about oxandrolone, then, well, let's be honest, it's not going to increase affiliate sales. And I'm still financially incentivized. Yeah, so don't complain. So I don't know. But anecdotally, I noticed it myself. Anadrol just keeps me lean, makes me fuller. I can always eat on Anadrol. That's not a problem for me. But yeah, that's why we like it in contest prep, because it adds fullness and it seems to speed up fat loss. Same with the Anavor, right? But that's mostly off the lower back, and we can speculate that is coming from glucocorticoid receptor inhibition, just like Trembolone. But Trembolone doesn't really seem to lower the ab fat as much as the Anavor does in the dose-dependent comparison. Then again, a lot of these things have not been studied, so we have to go with the anecdotal reports. But yeah, anecdotally, Anadrol seems to promote fat loss. How? And how it compares to Mirabic, Ronaclibutyrol, Yohimbine, it's a poor fat burner nonetheless. Eric, do you think SLU-PP-332 has the potential to help mitigate glycogen-related fatigue on tirzepatide for endurance cardio? Yes, because it increases mitochondrial function and ATP synthesis. So if you have low glycogen levels, then it simply acts as an exercise mimetic. Right? You get similar effects regarding metabolism from the SLU-PP-332 when you don't do endurance or strength exercise. But if you combine SLU-PP-332 with tirzepatide, and just a caloric reduction, but still adequate amounts of food, even though glycogen and carbohydrate intake is significantly less than before, then your energy level should be through the roof. I mean, I took SLU-PP-332 in a pretty steep caloric deficit, and I had energy for days, just like I have energy now. That didn't really change. The energy levels were very consistent between the off-season and the cutting phase, even though I was eating half or double. Energy levels were exactly the same. So I think SLU-PP-332 is a wonderful compound, and I fingers crossed that there's no long-term negative effects. But yeah, I guess me, Dr. Dean St. Martin, and a couple other ones, Chase Irons will be the guinea pigs for you guys. But I know a lot of people that run SLU-PP-332 now year round, or let's say just the entire way through, and they have nothing but good reviews. Yeah, it seems that it has no negative effect on blood work so far. And all the scientific evidence based on animal models seems to have a positive effect on heart health and kidney health as well, or at least improves their function in states where they're impaired. So if you have heart failure or kidney failure, then SLU-PP-332 can mitigate some of these negative effects. So yeah, I do think that it can mitigate fatigue. Like all the guys that I talked to about on SLU-PP-332, they never mention fatigue or complain about being tired. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what Alvaro says. Yeah. So again, guys, super chats first, and then we'll do the member questions, and then whatever's left. Coach, you mentioned recently some thing about how men age. Estradiol levels don't affect them too much. I'm at 107 picograms estradiol, not running my typical estrogen management, no gyno or issues. Yeah, but aren't you running a boatload of ment? So yeah, but it seems as you age that at least the guys that are physically active, it seems that they have less aromatase enzyme expression, even though you would expect them to have higher aromatase enzyme expression because testosterone levels goes down, and ideally in older age you have still the same level of estradiol. So that's why, generally speaking, people get fatter, their metabolism slows down, so they can get more aromatase enzyme expression, and the less testosterone that they produce converts with more aromatase enzymes to the same level of estradiol that they had before during their prime years. Whereas you guys see that are more physically active and pay attention to their diet, they get leaner and leaner and leaner, and their testosterone levels stay higher, where their estrogen levels stay lower. And maybe because their estrogen levels are lower, their luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone levels stay higher, and thus their testosterone levels are higher. So cause effect, the chicken and the egg, it's hard to really tell. But yeah, this is something you see between both groups, right? Sedentary, lazy fucks, and at older age, and guys that just killed it their entire lives and still are very, very physically active. And if you're 107 picograms estradiol, then well, it's probably because you're taking copious amounts of aromatizable compounds. Colin, Steve, I'm in Japan right now. 2 days left. What are some of the must-dos? Please let me know if you're in Osaka or Tokyo. Kyoto. And then we'll answer that. Shit, I'm 30 minutes late. If you're still here, let me know if you're in Tokyo, Osaka, or Kyoto. When is the YK11 deep dive? Jesus fucking Christ, man. Monday or Tuesday? Jesus Christ, slow down. Relax. Take a chill pill. Take some Valium. Come back next week. Thomas, been running 4 to 6. I use growth hormone for about a year, sometimes before fasted cardio, sometimes before bed. Continuous glucose monitor shows my fasting blood glucose is around 100. Is that okay? No, that's a little bit too high. All the thoughts on HCG year round. That's what I did up until recently, where I decided to fucking pull the plug because I have enough semen samples frozen that I don't think I see a reason to ever use it again unless my libido tanks. But right now my libido is so good that, yeah, well, no comment. It's really good. So yeah, in your case, maybe it's time to lower the carbs a little bit. Maybe that's it. I don't know how your diet is, but diet has a big effect. HCG and TRT year round, to be clear. Yeah, so maybe it's your diet, man. Maybe your growth hormone intake is too high for your diet. Maybe you just need to increase your activity levels. It has nothing to do with the growth hormone. I got my wife pregnant after an Novadex, only PCD sperm count went to 150 million. Oh, that's nice. Took 2 years though. Yeah, it took a long time. It takes a long time to recover sometimes. Burned. I think I caught serotonin syndrome just right now because I took tramadol for some serious anal pain. I was taking 5-HTP At the same time, kind of feel tough. Do I need to see MD? I would write it out for a day and do some research before you take tramadol with 5-HTP. And well, anal pain. Well, let's not go there. So I don't know. If you feel uncomfortable, go see a doctor. But when I got serotonin syndrome, I just wrote it out for a day. That's just me. Weekly. Weekly what? You guys talking amongst yourselves? Oh, Thomas became a member. Smart. Kale. Oi. Australian detected. Not sure which of these three I should try to aid in fat loss, SLU, GLP-1, or methylene blue. All three, dude. All three. Which one or combo of these would be the most cost-effective per daily dose? Methylene blue is cost-effective. SLU and the GLP-1 is fucking expensive. So if you want cheap, methylene blue and clenbuterol. That's it. If you want the best results, SLU, GLP-1, and methylene blue. And then I would go with the GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon agonist in the form of retatrutide. Right? So cost-effective, methylene blue, and that's probably the worst for fat loss, but at least it keeps your energy levels up and your antioxidant status high and your cognition high while you're in a caloric deficit. So, but SLU and the GLP-1 will directly contribute to fat loss. Methylene blue and clenbuterol, I think, is a good stack if you want to keep it cheap. Yeah, for energy levels and fat loss. Yeah, Eric, run both. Well, you mentioned three, dude. You mentioned three compounds. Semaglutide is cheap as fuck. Well, I don't know. Depends on some people that can't even afford semaglutide, man. Ronnie Coleman, famous 16 ounces of food every meal. Yeah, 6 meals a day. What was your maximum food intake during bulk season? Oh, I discussed it Thursday, dude. 5,000 calories per day. So that's 150 grams of meat. So that's what, 10 ounces? Or 250 grams? To kilograms? Fuck. 250 grams of meat. So that's what, 9 ounces? Yeah, 5 meals a day. But 16 ounces, I think you did 12 ounces of protein. Then again, you can never really touch or trust what these guys are saying. Thanks, Steve. All right. Eric B. 90 milligrams daily. Accutane, Jesus. TRT, 250 milligrams. No, 250 milligrams testosterone, 140 milligrams Anadrol, 4 years growth hormone, taking supporting supplements, fish oil, magnesium. Any tips to reduce neck stiffness, recovery issues? Fuck, man. No, I don't know. This must Accutane. I have no idea what could potentially help with the drying out effect of this much Accutane besides fish oil and maybe pentosan gold injections. Maybe joints of steel formula from MA. Check my website. Boswellia extract might help to lower the inflammation, but then again, it has a drying out effect. So no, I don't know. And this one's Accutane. I think you just have to suffer through it. I never took that much Accutane in my life. I don't know, man. Sorry. Oh, I don't know. I hope you can find the solution. Sounds rough. Thoughts on microdosing Accutane, 2.5 to 5 milligrams daily or even less. I think I got great results from 10 milligrams Accutane Monday, Friday, 2 or 3 times per week. And if you want to do 5 milligrams daily, that's pretty much, or 2.5 milligrams daily, that's pretty much a similar dose as 10 milligrams twice a week. But the 10 milligrams twice a week gave me more than enough acne management, even on heavy cycles. But then again, my diet was in check, right? Minimal dairy products, which contribute to acne formation. No butter, no cheese, no milk, no whey protein for that matter. And minimal chocolate. I do like my chocolate though. This year I've been a good boy. I haven't touched anything that I shouldn't be eating. and I hope I can continue that. But we're only 12 days in, so let's see. Let's see. So I'm not against it, but again, I try to address the diet first and the hormonal balance, which you can do with daily subcutaneous microadministrations. Accutane is kind of end stage acne management, just like finasteride is end stage hair loss management, or an SSRI is end stage mood management. Even though I like my SSRI, bro. Then again, my mood without it is terrible. Not terrible, but I don't know. Could always be better. Could always be better. Yeah, people like methylene blue first, it seems. Man, I'm at 30 minutes behind. Hard to follow you sometimes because it's so in depth. You guys want to tell him? Or I should tell him. I'll tell him because we're 30 minutes behind. That's what she said. It's so in depth. It's hard to see you because it's so deep. Has to be done, man. These jokes have to be made, otherwise everybody loses their loses their concentration. Creatinine 1.4 on a regular basis with very good cystatin C. On 3 separate occasions, is kidney disease or normal cystatin C common? No, so it's not cystatin C. It means that you have abnormal amounts of muscle mass, which is normal in bodybuilding. Right? Bodybuilding is all about having abnormal amounts of muscle mass so we can stand out. So creatinine of 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.8 is common, and once you start creeping up to 2, then it's a problem, even if cystatin C is in range. So I've had it up to 1.96 when I was training high volume and was heavy body weight and taking like 10 grams of creatine per day and eating like 400 grams of protein. Yeah, you have a lot of protein metabolism within skeletal muscle, and thus your creatinine levels go up, even if you're fully hydrated, even if your kidney function is absolutely normal. As long as your cystatin C levels are in range and your creatinine is below, let's say 1.9, 2, depending on your body weight levels, your muscle mass, your training intensity, and your creatine usage, then I think you're okay. And if you're really worried, do a 24-hour urine collection test and a ultrasound in your kidney just to make sure that everything is going well. I do that every year. Even though my creatinine is not significantly elevated and my cystatin C levels are within normal ranges, still good to kind of check your organs with imaging. Absinthe Shumway. Little bro once had get excess skin after losing 180 pounds and pubertal gyno removed. Can you suggest any great places you would go to in Thailand? I will let you guys know where I did the gyno surgery after I did the gyno surgery in case I'm happy with the service. If I'm not happy with the service, I will not mention the clinic because the defamation laws are so bad. So if I mention the clinic, it's good. And if I don't mention the clinic, it's bad. I just got to look out for myself. And excess skin, I don't know where to do that. So I would suggest you to contact private hospitals and private clinics, do some research, read some reviews online, and then make a decision. Because I don't know anybody here that got their excess skin removed. So I can't recommend the clinic. And gyno removed, I know several clinics that did it. But until I get my gyno removed, I'm not going to make any recommendations. So give me 4 more weeks, and then I'll have a recommendation for you. Ask me again. I'll tell you guys. And then, then you can make a decision. But excess skin, most of the private hospitals and anti-aging clinics that are, highly rated should have a cosmetic surgeon for that. And that seems to be reasonably straightforward. EMX Shark, ezetimibe taken in the morning is ruining my night's sleep. Tossing and turning all night. Body feels restless, even if ever had this or know of a workaround. No, never heard about that, and so I don't know a workaround unless you stop taking it. Stopping it makes it go away, but I like my 70 LDL. Look into red yeast rice instead. It inhibits one of the steps of cholesterol synthesis. It's quite potent. So Thorn Coleus 900 containing 900 milligrams red yeast rice should bring your LDL levels to 70 also. So maybe you can get a good effect, but then again, red yeast rice or statins in general come with their own side effects, right? Joint pain, stiffness, muscle soreness, reduced recovery. So there's no free rides. But if you can't sleep on ezetimibe for whatever reason, then yeah, switch to something else. Would you take aspirin during PCT to prevent blood clots? No, I think fish oil and vitamin E are sufficient enough to help with, and vitamin K helps with normal blood clotting. So again, right, if you're taking Clomid and tamoxifen for 4 weeks, I don't see a reason to take aspirin. And again, if you live the lifestyle and you're healthy and you don't have any cardiovascular disease, then the blood clots should be not much of an issue, unless you had, you were vaxxed like 4 times and you had C19 in the past, then I'd be worried. But you can check your clotting factors. That's what I did last week, just to make sure that I'm suitable for surgery, right? You want your clotting factors to be normal when you're going for surgery because you don't want any abnormal bleeding to the point you bleed out. That's why we stop fish oil and vitamin E well before we do any kinds of surgery, because that thins the blood. So instead of taking aspirin, I would recommend everybody to take fish oil and vitamin E instead at sufficient dosages. And then you don't have to worry about aspirin burning holes in your stomach because it lowers your stomach lining. And we have enough digestive issues as we have them, or as they are. Johnny Cook, 200 milligrams testosterone cypionate, 2.5 milligrams tirzepatide per week. I'm assuming 250 to 750 milligrams AOD per serving. 1 to 2 milligrams testosterone, tirzepatide and testosterone. Wow. 250 milligrams testophensine, and testosterone for growth hormone. 25 to 50 milligrams Anadrol on live days. Although I thought about adding SLU for added fat loss and muscle building. Yeah, go for it, man. You're already on a heavy stack. So why the fuck not? You don't need my permission. I would take more tests for that amount of Anadrol, though. And I would rather just stick with tirzepatide instead of testophensine, because withdrawal might be brutal. And testosterone is useless. Switch to growth hormone in this stack, because it's more effective and probably cheaper than 2 milligrams testosterone. I'm doing a test in Primo cycle. I want to start with orals, but I don't know which one to take. I'm stuck between Anadrol and the Anabol. Only care is Spear. I'm doing a test in Primo cycle. I want to add in Spear. I don't know what that means. I would start with Turinabol, dude, or Anavar, not Anadrol. The Anabol, it's probably too much bloating for you. The Anabol converts a lot into estradiol or methyl estradiol, so you get side effects. Anadrol can cause side effects. So Turinabol, Anavar, start there with orals. Start there, and then you can graduate to Anadrol, the Anabol, halotestin later on. Thoughts on running 50 milligrams Winstrol and 60 milligrams Anadrol per day for 12 weeks. Currently, you have a test base. I don't believe you. Why do I not believe you? Because if you have a test base, you wouldn't think about running 50 milligrams Winstrol and 60 milligrams Anadrol per day. You can run 25 milligrams of Anadrol per day and 50 milligrams of Winstrol. If you need 60 milligrams of Anadrol, your Anadrol is not real. End story. 25 milligrams of Anadrol, most people would be completely locked up. It's like tight as fuck. And then especially with the Winstrol, 50 milligrams, you'd be like a rock, dude. You can do a bicep curl like this. That's how tight you are. Chest press like this. That's how tight you are. So if you have a testosterone base, I would run 25 milligrams of Anadrol first. Run that for 12 weeks, and in the last 6 weeks you add in testosterone base. Yeah, so 8 weeks of Anadrol solo, and then the last 4 weeks you add in the Winstrol, because 12 weeks on Winstrol, fuck, dude, it'll be broken apart. Your lipids will be destroyed. It'll be broken apart, And before your joint pain and connective tissue pain is normal again, we're another 12 weeks ahead. So I would limit the Winstrol to 4 weeks, 6 weeks at maximum, and run Anadrol at a much lower dose. And I don't believe that you have a testosterone base, judging by your question. Do you think SSRI is only for people on cycle or natties? I think for people who need it, man, who need mood management. I need mood management, so that's why I'm on an SSRI. And I know you guys think that I'm always in a good mood, but it's not the case. As you guys might remember from my tremboloni sandwich experience. Fuckers. It's a personal choice, so I would do a lot of research and then decide. I mean, you shouldn't be incentivized to take an SSRI from videos that I did. That's the wrong way to approach it. How do you feel new-pepped? I feel cognitively enhanced, for the better lack of the word. So I can focus better, I can retain knowledge better, and that's why I take new-pepped when I'm either recording or when I'm preparing for videos. Jesse, thanks for lives, Big Uncle Steve. Oh, finally, a donation without a question. My pleasure, Jesse. You're welcome. Great, it's okay, man. It's okay. Nobody likes. Liking is like voting for the blue party. Actually, liking is just voting in general. You cast your vote by liking or disliking. Right? If you don't like the shit, if you don't like my sexual remarks, then just dislike it. At least that's interaction as well. Octavian, I can confirm for minoxidil made my borderline hypogonadal. Yeah, it's a horrible compound, man. Topical dutasteride is good. Yeah, I agree. It's better than, but even then, you know, it's before you try topical dutasteride, there's so much other stuff you can look into. How to fix body dissociation derealization syndrome? I'm worried about my friend. I have no idea. And the questions you ask sometimes are kind of weird. I hate to say it, man, Brad, but the questions you ask sometimes are, I don't know, I'm a little bit worried. And I had another guy that started asking weirder and weirder questions, and I had to block him because it's not what the Vigorous crew is about. So these kinds of questions, it's not the place for the Vigorous Q&A. I think that's the psychiatrist. The SSRI questions and the body dissociation derealization questions, those are meant for psychiatrists, not for the Vigorous Q&A. There's only so much I can do, bro. Like I literally had to ban other members because their questions were getting out of control, and I'm like, this is not the time and place, and it's better to save time for other members who. I'm not a fucking charity. About the hair loss, I've had serious stress-related issues during COVID that made me lose a lot of hair, so they put me on it. Can't really recommend it, though, unless you have to try it yourself. And that was what, minoxidil or topical dutasteride. Yeah, so instead of addressing the root cause of making you less stressed, they prescribe you medication. Well, that's how it is. Should you train with hemorrhoids or take them off? I know. How bad are they? Are they exploding while you're training? Living like a friend of mine had the hemorrhoids one time. Then, you know, we trained legs, and then he went to the bathroom, and he didn't come out for 30 minutes. So I thought he was puking, but it actually was bleeding out of his asshole. So in your case, if it's hindering your performance, then yeah, take some time off, do the surgery, and then get back into the gym. Just like me, right? I've been procrastinating about this gyno surgery for years now, and now I'm gonna get it removed and taking some time off. You know, but yeah, with hemorrhoids, if you take time off and then you still blow out your asshole while taking time off, then you're losing gains and not getting the hemorrhoids fixed. So I might as well get them fixed. At the moment, just Cypionate 350 milligrams per week daily microdose. Okay, and your testosterone is still that high, or your estradiol levels are still that high? Yeah, you need some estrogen management in place. Eric, can you explain the difference between 250 micrograms and 20 milligrams of SLU-PP3? I've never taken 20 milligrams of SLU-PP-332. I've taken up to 1 milligram of SLU, and I've seen no effects on estradiol. Again, it interacts with the estrogen-related receptor that has no estrogenic effects. I discussed this in the SLU-PP-332 deep dive. I looked into the estrogen-related receptor quite extensively, and anything that interacts with it does not seem to potentiate estrogenic effects. It's just a poor naming convention, basically. And if it's called the androgen-related receptor, you guys would all be like, yay, anabolic as fuck. But in reality, that's also not the case. It's just related to, it's like not a decoy, but the estrogen is a parent receptor of the estrogen-related receptor. So call it a mitochondrial receptor, and then it makes more sense. And yeah, 20 milligrams of SLU-PP-332. If you go with the human equivalent dose, you would have to inject like 1,000 milligrams or something. From the animal studies where SLU was shown to have all of these benefits, just like with YK11 in cases of sepsis, but you guys can watch that next week. Yeah, so in this case, I would say that 250 micrograms SLU-PP-332 once, twice, 3 times, 4 times per day is more than enough. And all the guys that want to experiment with that much SLU-PP-332 because I found a source online that provides the raws, be my guest, dude. Be my guest. Let me know how it was. And I know guys that take like 1 gram of soboterone, GC1. They swear by it. So they basically spend like $30 per day on soboterone. And everybody's different, dude. They're also burning up. Stem cell downregulation on TRT via what mechanism? I don't know. I don't know. You're stumping me. I have no idea. Hey, Brad, what kind of questions are these, dude? What kind of questions are these? What the fuck is this nonsense? Firelad, should I store my oils long term in the fridge and room temperature once I start using the vial? I just keep them at room temperature in my storage drawer. I've never stored them in the fridge. If you put them in the fridge, the oil will get thicker and makes it harder to inject. So I wouldn't do that. The peptides, yes. Water-based stuff, yes, in the fridge. Keep the temperature stable, but oil-based is room temperature, man. Nicholas, anything to help with mental stability on the tail end of PCT using 25 milligrams enclomiphene a day and 10 milligrams Novadex a day. Mood is mostly anxious compared to double the dose last month. Hurting relationship. Maybe take some 5-HTP. Maybe take some L-tyrosine to increase your serotonin and dopamine levels. Maybe take some iron that helps with neurotransmitter synthesis. Maybe take some Gorilla Mind Calm. Right? Just over-the-counter supplements that help with mood regulation. L-theanine, saffron extract, phosphatidylserine, rhodiola rosea, ashwagandha root extract. All these things can improve your mood and lower anxiety. And if this doesn't get the job done, then, well, suffer through the enclomiphene and clomid because you're getting some sort of estrogen-like effects. And once you take out the selective estrogen receptor modulators, I'm sure your mood will improve, albeit that you still feel a little bit androgen deficient because it takes some time for your testosterone levels and estradiol levels to come back up after you discontinue the SERMs. So yeah, just order some supplements that I just mentioned and power through. And this is PCT, man. Welcome to the roller coaster. That's just part of the game. Every time I did PCT, I felt fucking shit also. That's why I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And hey, man, that's what you signed up for. That's what you signed up for. Now, by taking steroids, eventually you're going to have to do post-cycle therapy. And then you're only going the roller coaster, man. Hope somebody told you. Anal pain, that's what she said. Fuck, man, why didn't I catch that? I'm losing my style. Well, it's getting late, guys. It's 2:00 in the morning. Eric, could you share your thoughts on how slutty putty? Slutty putty, nice. might affect the menstrual cycle regarding hormone balance or estrogen changes. As far as I know, it doesn't. So I think it's female safe. And again, it doesn't change your estrogen levels from what I've seen and from all the women that I talk to that take SLU-PP-332. Doesn't change the menstrual cycle. But if you take SLU-PP-332 while you're dieting and you reach a sub 10, 11, 12% body fat, then yes, your menstrual cycle might be delayed or absolved, going away until you reintroduce the food and gain a little bit of body fat. This is part of dieting if you're a woman. Menstrual cycle. Reproduction is a very caloric intensive process, and if you're chronically dieting, then yeah, your fertility goes down and you lose your menstrual cycle. Has nothing to do with slutty putty. Now let's see if D. Brad asks a normal question. Speaking of Ronnie Coleman, I know Chris Aceto has this guy eating 500 grams plus of protein per day. Would this make sense? Yeah, some guys need that, but they eat 500 grams plus protein and their carbohydrate intake is zero and their fat intake is zero. So they have protein and veggies and they eat maybe 2,000 calories per day. It happens. It happens. It sucks, but that's sometimes what you need to get shredded. 3 grams of gear on top of that to prevent muscle loss. And then and that's it. Saw your tendon healing video. Any key updates since then on which compounds they help with the healing process effectively? No, I thought about I watched it recently and I thought about redoing the tendon protocol because you guys are always asking about it. And then I watched the video and I was like, no, this is still valid. There's nothing there that needs to be changed, Nothing has changed regarding collagen synthesis and healing peptides. So, growth hormone, Adavar, BBC 157, TB500, GHK copper, oral micronized progesterone, and collagen supplements, and vitamin C, hyaluronic acid. It's the exact same thing, man. So watch it again, and that is it. Best injection frequency of first cycle test only. Daily subcutaneous micro injections. Less aromatization, less 5-fold reduction, stable testosterone, estradiol, and DHT levels, minimal side effects. Enjoy the ride and welcome to the club. Aaron Grid asks, Steve, help me, man. How do I escape this? My girl is making me watch Disney movies with her in marathon because I showed her my childhood World War II movies. Now she's showing me hers. Help, help. Microdose LSD. It makes everything more tolerable. Yeah, or mushrooms, whatever you prefer. Trust me, dude. If you start yeah, a couple Disney movies are actually very enjoyable. And a microdose. Uh, or you do a nuts, you dose in, and that was not a microdose dose, right? Where you're in the beginning, like the first 2 hours, you're like, this is chill. And then after 4 hours, you're like, fuck. Fuck, now I gotta remain my composure. You're like grasping something, like, I gotta keep my composure for the next 6 hours. That kind of dose. And then you go watch these movies that allegedly happened to me when I was watching the Super Mario movie. You're like, oh, fuck. Yes. Oh, fuck. How am I going to get down to the bathroom? Good memories. So, yeah. I had to say it, but you got to drug up, man. Aaron Grid, you're 22, you're right? 22. That I started experimenting with psychedelics when I was, 17? Yeah, 16, 17. And I turned out all right. I'm sure it's a dead giveaway, but I turned out all right. I did okay for myself. I got married. I got kids on the way. I got cats. I love them. I got a house. I think I got the respect from most people. Not all, but for most people. So you got to find a way to enjoy it, man. Maybe smoke a little bit of weed before you go there. You just sit there like... And otherwise, slowly switch to, some other cartoons like Titan AE or You know, Pop and Ghost in the show. So hey, this is Disney from Japan. Actually, Studio Ghibli is like Disney from Japan. The what was it called? The blah blah and the Heron. Ghibli. Hey, the Boy and the Heron. That one was shit. That's like the worst Ghibli movie I've ever seen. But if you want to watch Nausicaa or some of the older ones, yeah, those are great. I was really, really disappointed in The Boy and the Heron. That was not good. Ponyo was better, and that's not even from Hayao Miyazaki. Um, I don't know. Is that the director or the fucking the composer? Fuck, it's been a while. Yeah, Hayao Miyazaki is the director. 84. Yeah, Spirited Away, my neighbor Totoro, that one's fucking great. Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke, Ponyo, Kiki's Delivery Service, Laputa, great. Nausicaa, great. The Wind Rises, haven't seen that one. Oh, I have seen that one, yeah. But The Boy and the Heron? Oh, Lupin the Third, The Castle of Cagliostro, man. If you like James Bond, you'll love that one. It's from 1979. It's a great movie, man. I should watch all of these. That's not a microdose dose. Princess Mononoke. Yeah, The Boy and the Heron was a major disappointment. I didn't like it at all. I still watched it, but it's yeah. Even Ponyo was better. And that movie's silly. Anyway, um, just pop in Ghost in the Shell, man. The first one, nice and violent. Matthew, what about Anadrol at 8% body fat to finish off the diet and go into reverse dieting? Yeah, I'm not against that, man. I have my eyes on Superdrol also. I would do Anadrol. Superdrol makes you feel a little bit toxic. And I watch until you decide, look into the YK11 deep dive because I offer YK11 as an alternative to Superdrol, which is non toxic, right? Or at least where you don't feel as toxic. Your liver enzymes will still go up, but at least you don't feel violated by the end of it. And you can run YK11 for maybe 4, 6, 8 weeks, where Superdrol after 2 weeks you're like, ugh, feel like feel like shit, you know. What should I look for at my blood work to see if I'm eligible to add any of these two, or liver enzymes and lipids? Too much food before I came here. Yeah, liver enzymes. Aaron, I'm a 400 milligrams test, 300 milligrams MPP, 650 primo. Would you add low dosages of Deca or Masteron alongside this, or just up the dosage and the benefits? It depends on your preference. And well, Deca is kind of the same thing as MPP, right? It's a different ester. Um, so it depends on what you want, man. Do you want more joint padding? Up the NPP. Do you want more dryness? Up the primo or add in the Masteron. Any benefits? Well, you're like, if you're asking me, I would just add in a little bit more primo and more test and lower the NPP. But that's just me. But the cycle I did recently, 500 test, 500 deca, and 150 Trestolone and Anadrol and YK11, great fucking cycle, man. Again, if I didn't have all these digestive issues, I wouldn't have stopped. And actually, now it can continue with the gyno surgeries taking place. So, um, let's get that out of the way, and then I can decide to bulk back up. Albeit that I don't want to be 120 kilos anymore. Maybe it was the digestive issues, or maybe just being so fucking heavy. Like in the gym, I was a god. Yeah, but the other 22 and a half hours I felt a little invalid. So at 110, I feel totally fine, but 120, nah. So if I were you, like what you're asking me personally, I would do 500 tests, 200 deca, 500 primo, and 300 masteron. Yeah, just for cosmetic effect, and then walk around without a shirt. So Chris asks, Hematocrit is 52%. Phlebotomize immediately or start this telmisartan. From 52. Fucking hell, man. Why are you even asking this? No, you don't have to phlebotomize. You need to lobotomize. Phlebotomize, no. No, at 58, 56, maybe. Started telmisartan and just check hematocrit after a few months. I would, next time you go in fully hydrated, drink at least 1.5 liters of water, start your telmisartan at 20 to 40 milligrams per day, and don't worry about it, man. Fuck. Are you checking on the female reference range? That goes up to 48%. 52 is normal, man. So I can relax. Your platelets are in range, right? I can relax, dude. It's nothing to worry about. Mine is like 55. Last, oh, 1 second. Last Thursday, I released my blood work. Right, my hematocrit was 55%. Did you see me freaking out? Man. Oh, dude, relax, chill. The stress will kill you, not the hematocrit. Hi, Uncle Steve. That's Daddy Steve. I want to hear Daddy Steve from now on, not Uncle Steve. No more Uncle Steve. Daddy Steve. Hey, Daddy Steve. Any potential downsides of lots of daily pineapple consumption? It's my favorite fruit, and I'm bulking. No, go for it, man. But if you ejaculate, make sure it's in her mouth, so she can she can enjoy that as well. Because if you watch the Vigorous Loads video, I mentioned that pineapple and Manuka honey, it has to be Manuka, man. Can't be anything else. Spend the money, right? Share the load so she swallows. Pineapple and Manuka honey can actually enhance the taste of semen, allegedly. Not that I've tried, but from what I've heard, it's like, oh man, this shit is tasty. Give me some more. And then, you say your wish is my command, ma'am, and then you fucking vigorously masturbate until you're ready to go again. You have the refractory period, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, daily pineapple, I'm not against it, man. As bromelain helps with the digestion of proteins, and I think glycemic index is not that bad. So yeah, go for it. Go for it. But it might alter your stomach acidity levels. Right? Keep that in mind. And so if you're eating like 2 whole fucking pineapples or 3 pineapples per day, you might alter your digestive tract a little bit. It's a lot of acidity. Right? Pineapple is pretty acidic. So maybe you throw in some mango and some papaya, or just papaya, right, to kind of bring the acidity down. I'm not against it. Crypto bull run after 20th of January. I fucking hope so. It's been pretty fucking boring. I'm not sure if this is like a mid-cycle, like a third step in the Elliott wave, or because it doesn't really come down more than 86. Like if it goes to 84,000, I would say that's an Elliott wave correction, and then you go into the fifth wave. But right now it's just hovering here. It's kind of boring. And dude, it's been like an entire day. Or if you look into the 4-hour candle, you see it's just flatlining for a day around 94,000. So that looks like accumulation to me. Yeah, you know how the market makers go. Like, oh, 102,000, everybody's happy. We're at like Fibonacci 0.618. Everybody's getting excited. And then they bring the price down, everybody gets bearish. And meanwhile, they scoop up another 50,000 Bitcoin. And then they let it fly. So I made a little trade, but I'm down since since the previous, not down, but when did I get back in? I think I got back in January 1st when it shot up the second time. Yeah, it got rejected and then it went up. So January 1st, I got back in. And then when I came back, then I made a small trade from here. Where was it? I think it was 94. So yeah, I'm kind of like similar from that last trade. Overall, I'm down up since 108. But I'm just down that it's not going up, which is exactly what they want. So, exactly what they want. They want you to be bearish, so you sell into their hands. They grab the liquidity. And you're just not going to do that. Hey, why would you hand your money over to fucking Michael Saylor or BlackRock? These guys can go fuck themselves. Or the strategic reserve. Well, keep your Bitcoin, man, or buy more. Hopefully the bull run will start, but this is the year that it's bullish. I mean, look at the gain since the election. Fuck, man. Dude, since the election, where was it? January 1st? Or November 4th? November 4th. We are up 40% now, from November 4th till now. So that's what? 70 days. You're up 40% in 70 days, even though it's not at the top. Where else can you get that? Nowhere, dude. Nowhere. Augmented athlete. Hard to clarify the bits. Came down from 1 gram cypionate and 150 milligram or picograms estradiol. Recent blood work shows me 2,500 nanograms testosterone and 1,000. I'm assuming that's 107.7 picograms estradiol after tapering down. Agreed. Starting estradiol management today. Yeah, I'm assuming that's 107.7 picograms per milliliter. That's 1,077. Right? Typos happen. I would still say that's too high unless you had gyno surgery and it doesn't affect you mentally and libido wise. Like, I let my estrogen run wild and it doesn't affect my libido or my mood, but it does affect my gyno, obviously. So technically, after the gyno surgery, I should be able to let my estrogen just run wild. Even though a lot of guys have problems with it, but like I think if I was like 25 and I did that when I was 25, I would have libido issues and I would have mental issues. But right now, I mean, I'm an SSRI, so I'm cheating probably. Yeah, I would have libido and erectile quality issues. But fuck, man, I don't know. Maybe because the market is up, my dick is up as well. I will say that every 4 years when the cryptocurrency market is up, you fucking look into your fucking portfolio, and you're like, oh man, yeah, you get raging boners, dude. So the people are always like, "Yeah, my hormone balance." Is no, man. You just need to make money and eat a lot of food, and then your dick will work. Trust me. You just need to when the market is up and the food is up, your dick is up. End of story. Anyway, it was not your question, but yeah, you definitely need some estradiol management if you get side effects. Dr. Delts, hey Steve, how bad is it to run 200 milligrams testosterone anti long term? My daily microdose intramuscular testosterone levels 2,500 nanograms per deciliter requires 1 milligram of Arimidex a week. All markers are okay. I think that's fine. Fine. I think you can run that indefinitely until your age tells you to lower the testosterone to 150, 125, 100 milligrams per week. And maybe then you want to stop the injections because you've accumulated so much scar tissue and you're just too fucking old to raise your arm. And then you go to DHT and pregnenolone. Right? That works well in the elderly as well. But 200 TRT dosages, I think it's sustainable for life, man. Assuming that you eat healthy and you do some fucking exercise. Well, you just answered that. Chest pain persists after stopping minoxidil. Suggestions. I'm not sure what's causing that, so I couldn't make any suggestions. Maybe it's time to talk with a doctor. Because what are the chest pain from? Poor blood circulation, anxiety, taurine, ubiquinol deficiency. I can't make any suggestions because I don't know what the root cause is. And for that, we have doctors. So please consult with a doctor if you have chest pain. Chest pain can go away in 2 ways, by consulting a doctor or by death. You choose which one you want. Or shrooms. Fuck, man. Are we still 30 minutes behind? Kratos, what can one do to accelerate the healing of a hairline fracture? Is there in the tibia knee? In the tibia knee of the knee, tibia knee of the knee of the leg. Rest, growth hormone, vitamin K, vitamin D3, magnesium, calcium, phosphorus, and TRT, which I'm sure, Kratos, you are already on copious amounts of steroids. So just make sure you keep your acidity levels low. Maybe take some baking soda here or there to bring our acidity levels down, because the acidity leaches calcium from bones, and that makes calcium transport into bones a little bit more difficult. So maybe look at the baking soda. I'm not entirely sure if that can help with the bone healing, but just from basic human biology that I know, that I would bring your acidity levels down by taking baking soda maybe morning and evening, 5 grams per serving. And then in the meantime, you make sure you take your calcium, magnesium, phosphorus intake high through dietary sources, and then supplementing accordingly later on. Vitamin D3 and vitamin K from supplemental sources. Again, we'll discuss that Monday or Tuesday in a deep dive where we go over all of the vitamins and minerals. Won't exactly be a deep dive, but just a general recommendation and a discussion. We'll do that live because I just don't want to go through the effort of recording it not live and then doing the editing and it's not going to get any views, but it still needs to be done. So I'll just do it live to get it out of the way. So yeah, that will be my recommendation. And rest. You can start training again when your alkaline phosphatase, bone-specific alkaline phosphatase levels are normal, which might take 4 weeks to 6 weeks. Yeah. Rest, man. Rest, rest, rest. Of course, you can train a little bit, but just nothing heavy. No leg extensions, for example. Just compound movements. Anthony, my oxytocin nasal spray is 75 milligram per spray. I believe you recommend it. No, I recommend it like 10 to 100 IUs prior to lifting. How do I convert? I can't remember. I think there's an online conversion, dude, and I can do it for you. Oxytocin milligram to IU. All right. Where's the fucking... Like, you could have done this yourself, but that's okay. Okay, so 1 IU is 1.67 microgram. So, let's see. Microgram. 75 milligrams, you said, right? 75,000 divided by 1.6. Oh. 1.67 is 45,000 IU. Oh, that's a big fucking spray. Isn't it 75 micrograms? Not milligrams? In which case, it would be 45 IUs. I think you're talking about micrograms, not milligrams. So let's say your oxytocin nasal spray is 75 micrograms per spray, then you're administering 45 IUs, which would be more than enough to get a response. So one or two sprays, that's it, or half a spray to start. Yeah. Keep it at high estradiol is a good recipe for crying in front of the girlfriend. That's not the end of the world, man. That's not the end of the world. Dude, you can't. The times I like let out a few tears during Marvel movies, you know, I'm Groot, I'm Tony Stark, all right? Dude, I fucking cry like a little girl, but it's okay. I think the worst I've cried was when I was like on Trembolone and I went to the movie Solo and I watched Batman: The Dark Knight Rises, and then Alfred leaves. Bruce Wayne because he can't stop being Batman. I couldn't stop crying, dude. Stop crying. Oh my god. Yeah, that was great. Fucking tremolo, dude. Ugh. So yeah, it happens, man. Just do it behind closed doors. Don't tell him. Well, fuck, I just did to 235 people. Better like this fucking stream for being so honest. But yeah, it happens, man. It's not the end of the world. Hello, Steve. If there is any scare of benign tumor or small growth, would growth hormone and healing peptides be out? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Go check your cancer markers and do a ultrasound ultrasound to determine if you have a benign tumor or small growth, and then get that diagnosed and then see if it's benign or malignant, and then address that accordingly. I wouldn't fuck around, dude. Don't fuck around. Growth hormone, IGF-1, TB500, BBC157, insulin even. High carbohydrate intake. All should be avoided if you even have a hint of a tumor growth. Like I just checked, all my cancer markers are normal, besides the growth hormone being elevated. That's also a cancer marker, right? Because it can accelerate cancer growth if it's present. Doesn't cause it. Doesn't cause it, guys, but it can accelerate it. So yeah, don't fuck around. Get it diagnosed and then proceed. Uh, Fire Lad, 250 milligrams testosterone, 120 milligrams primo, 120 milligrams mast, 50 milligrams deca for joints, a liquid comatose, liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry. So that's sensitive estradiol, not ultra sensitive. 29, that's fine. Prolactin, 3.5, high for me. Really? It's pretty low. Maybe a different range. Gyno flaring. Okay. Can the 750 micrograms SLU be affecting the receptors? No. The estrogen-related receptor has no known estrogenic effects. It's not the SLU. If you have gyno flaring, it could be testosterone aromatizing into estradiol or the deca aromatizing into estradiol, or esterone aromatizing into, or what is it called? Converting into estradiol locally and causing gyno. So in this case, I would take the deca out first, and because that can raise prolactin, but prolactin 3.5, I think that's low, but you're probably talking about a different reference range and you didn't include it, so I don't know which range we're talking about. Take the deca out and add the Nolvadex in, or the raloxifene in, and then check if the gyno is reversing. You know, the SLU does not cause gyno. Otherwise, we would have heard about it from the community in multiple places. And again, estrogen-related receptor doesn't mean it has estrogenic effects. It's, if you just go to Wikipedia, type in the estrogen-related receptor, and then you'll get the answer, and with a lot of citations. Hello, Mr. Steve. Opinion on 600 tests and 400 train a week. For the picture that you showed me, it sounds way too high. I would do 200 tests cypionate. That's it. If you're a competitor, even personally, I wouldn't run that. I would run, if I have 1,000 milligrams of steroids to play with, 300 tests, 300 primo, 25 to 50 milligrams of tren, and then maybe some fucking Anadrol or YK11 or Anavar. But no, it's I think it's way too high for what I see in your profile picture. And otherwise, go ahead, and then we'll hear about the side effects that you get a couple of weeks from now. John, daily microinjections of test versus Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Both are fine, but you get more stable levels with daily microadministrations. I mean, I think that's common knowledge now, but I guess not. So, but if you like injection convenience, I mean, I like injection convenience right now. I inject Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I don't care about stable serum levels because my estradiol levels are fucking high anyway. My gyno's fucking growing. So, and I don't care about hair loss. So right now I care about injection convenience more than stable serum levels. And dude, I'm on 500 testosterone enanthate, or 300 testosterone enanthate and 200 milligrams testosterone propionate. So my levels are pretty stable. But yeah, if you want the most stable levels, daily microadministrations, and if you want injection convenience, Monday, Wednesday, Friday is fine. Tiger fan, with Geno slowly becoming extinct, what are your thoughts on Ngenla? Yeah, I'm still not convinced. I mean, Chase Irons ran a valid experiment, obviously, but I'd rather have it in and out fast than just being elevated consistently throughout the entire week. I would consider Ngenla at the start of a fast to help with fat loss, or maybe when you're doing a ketogenic diet during a cutting phase. But during the off season, I would prefer growth hormone in and out, active for a couple hours while you're sleeping, and that's it. Yeah, so it seems to be more cumbersome regarding insulin sensitivity. Again, Chase Irons had no issues with his insulin sensitivity. I do believe that he ran Ngenla at very high dosages while he was cutting. So, of course, that is going to mitigate it. And he's a muscular freak, and he's on a buttload of testosterone. So I don't think that Chase Irons would ever have a problem with it with his insulin sensitivity when he's living the lifestyle. But yeah, I would only run it while cutting or while fasting, and in the meantime, I would just inject my growth hormone. And well, for On Ngenla, I'd have to pay, and for the generics, it's basically free. So I'm gonna go with free, save some money, put some more money into Bitcoin, and set myself up for financial freedom in the future. Commissioned. I got a bunch of SLU, but it's 500 micrograms to 250. Would it be okay to take 500 micrograms twice per day? Yeah, that's totally fine. It seems to work quite long. And again, the mitochondrial upregulation lasts for a couple of days, even when you stop it. So 250 micrograms 4 times per day or 500 micrograms twice per day, it should be totally fine. Or should you just take 500 milligrams once with the morning fasted cardio? No, I think morning and afternoon or pre-fasted cardio and before the workout should be fine, and you get comparable effects. Thomas, didn't you, dude? If you became a member, you don't need to super chat anymore, man. And I appreciate it, but you already paid $10 to become a member, so you don't need to pay an additional $10 to ask super chats. Let's see. If fasting blood glucose is too high at 100 nanograms or milligrams per deciliter, you're saying I should cut back on carbs, but I'm looking to bulk up. What's the best strategy to maximize growth hormone benefit to control blood glucose and still get huge? Add in magnesium to every meal to improve your insulin sensitivity. Add vitamin D3 to improve your insulin sensitivity. Maybe look into chromium and berberine, improve insulin sensitivity. And you know, you don't need to be 100% glycogen loaded all the time to gain muscle tissue. You can be 95% glycogen loaded. And the way to determine that is just to have a phenomenal pump during the gym, but not be fully pumped the entire day. Again, unless you're on Anadrol or Superdrol or something like that, then you're pumped the entire day. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult, but I would start checking your blood glucose levels throughout the day and just see if anything is over 100 and 130, and then make some slight caloric adjustments to bring it back into normal ranges, or change your protocol because maybe you don't produce enough insulin to control your blood glucose levels throughout the day, or maybe the growth hormone is reducing your insulin sensitivity overnight, and thus your fasting glucose levels are too high, or you wake up super stressed and you have a cortisol dump, and that's why your fasting blood glucose levels are high. So maybe you need a continuous blood glucose monitor to kind of see when your blood glucose levels are low at night, and then if they maybe start peaking, because when you dump cortisol into the bloodstream, you get a lot of genoglycolysis, right? The liver glycogen dumps into the bloodstream from the cortisol and adrenaline spike, and then your fasting blood glucose levels are high, even though they're only just high because you woke up, and fasting cardio can kind of mitigate that. So maybe you need to check your blood glucose levels throughout the day or change your carbohydrate sources, but you don't need to be 100% glycogen loaded all the time to make gains during the off season. And again, growth hormone is just a part of that. And maybe you need some insulin. It's yeah. There's multiple ways you can address it. What SSRIs have you taken? Which one are you currently on? So right now I'm taking 50 milligrams fluvoxamine per day. I ramped it up in the past to 100 milligrams fluvoxamine, but I noticed from my previous experience and my experience now that the difference between 50 milligrams to 100 milligrams fluvoxamine is minimal. So I started with 25 milligrams for 8 days, and I increased to 50 milligrams for a month, and then I did 75 milligrams for 3 months, and then 100 milligrams per day to kind of minimize the side effects. I kind of let my body get used to it and not have these intestinal upsets that's common with SSRIs. So I had no side effects until I came off, and then I had brain zaps. And now on 50 milligrams per day, I can, like when I went to New Zealand, I didn't bring anything with me, right? So I was off the SSRI for 8 days, no brain zaps, no issues there. And 50 milligrams fluvoxamine I can combine with 10 milligrams methylene blue here and there and not get serotonin syndrome. Now, I also tried 2.5 and 5 milligrams vortioxetine. Then I combined that one time with methylene blue. I got full-blown serotonin syndrome. So I'm assuming that on a milligram for milligram basis, vortioxetine is significantly more potent. As I took, 1 or 2 weeks off between fluvoxamine and vortioxetine. And 40-oxetine murdered my penis. It literally, I didn't want to have sex, didn't want to masturbate. And when the time came to perform, I had, half stiffies. So I threw that away. And that's my extent of it. So fluvoxamine is where it's at. That's what I take. Puts me in a good mood, and I'm never going to change. All right, guys, we're going to throw in the banner. Yeah. So after this one, I will not answer any more super chats, okay? Because it's time to go to bed. No excuses. This is on top of TRT Primo. What was the question? Shit. All right, kind of covered that. Judah, welcome to the Vigorous crew. You can ask your questions next week. No, here it is. Man, you know your estradiol is high when you start crying at those movies. Hey, it's not the end of the world, man. It's okay. Like when you're 19 and or 22 and you're insecure and you're like you're worried about what everybody's saying about you, then yeah, you don't want to start crying publicly. But when you're a little bit more older and wiser and you're solidified and you just don't really give a shit, then you can cry all you want, man. What do you think about Alex Keukel? He recently did an hour and a half long seminar on SLU-PP-332, and she's seen high doses of SLU cause kino flare-ups. I don't know. I can't take Alex Keukel serious anymore, man. I get his posts sent to me regularly, and then I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Maybe he's onto something that I'm not, but apparently he can cure cancer, and apparently he's a veterinarian, and apparently he coaches people that he didn't really coach and takes the credit. That's been a long standing issue with Alex. He just uses before and after pictures of other coaches, and I don't know, man. It's not somebody I listen to. So you guys can listen to and follow whoever you want, but it's not somebody I listen to. And every time I see a post of his or some content, I'm like, I don't know. I've seen several posts of his that are now deleted, where you say he allegedly cures cancer, and when you see an educator go into that's I don't know what to say. So he used SLU for 5 years. Really? Well, I think the scientific evidence is 2 years old. That's okay, man. I don't dislike the guy. Just sometimes the things he said, so it makes me raise an eyebrow. But I have that with other educators as well. So it's not personally somebody I listen to, but if you want to take advice from Alex, then go right ahead. You're free to listen to and take advice from whoever you want. Thoughts on combining men with testosterone, cypionate, and deca. That's what I did recently, and I got full-blown gyno. It was great. I got full-blown gyno. It was great. So if you're not after gyno, you can still get great results if you add in an aromatase inhibitor. And I would do high test, moderate deca, and low mint in that combination. So let's say 500 test, 200 deca, maybe 100 mint. Sounds like a good idea. And then a good amount of aromatase inhibition, because your estradiol levels will be sky fucking high without it. Joshua Perry. Oh, I thought you were a member already, dude. You're a good man, Steve. Thanks for helping all the knuckleheads and brain boys. Yeah, I do my best. I don't think it's really making a difference in the bigger picture, but I do my part, man. Lugo DH, roughly how much is the maximum protein that you should consume per meal? Is it a ways to go above a certain amount? It's person dependent and how many meals you eat. So you could start with 25 grams and wrap it up to 60 grams and then see where you get the best results. But it's different for everybody, man. I mean, I eat about 60 grams of protein, 50, 60 grams of protein per meal, but I've been doing this for a very long time. And, my digestion is now finally fixed again, or close to it. And I have bought a lot of muscle mass, and my metabolism is very high. So maybe I can process more protein than the average Joe. So I would only eat as much protein as you need because it's expensive. You know. Any reason why MK677 might not increase appetite? I'm pretty sure it was genuine, as I had expected sides and some increase in fullness, skin, sleep quality, but absolutely no appetite increase. Well, it works on the ghrelin receptor, so without an appetite increase, you should not get any growth hormone release. So next time, check your growth hormone levels and your IGF-1 levels, and then let's see if your MK677 is legit. Everybody that I talk to says that and the expected side effect of MK677 is appetite increase and no other side effects. Besides the insulin resistance, that's another issue, but that usually comes from the food increase, right? So next time, do your blood work and then see if it's actually working. All right. Let's see. Just got my DXA after starting DEXA after starting 200 milligrams testosterone and 9 IU's growth hormone. It's a bit high, but feel free to go for it. I went from 22% body fat to 11% body fat and added 25 pounds of muscle. Okay, nice. I grew up obese and started this journey at 40% body fat. Oh, holy shit. What body fat level do you recommend cutting to before going into a bulk? Love you. Okay, great. Well, 11% body fat on the DEXA is pretty fucking low, man. And if you came from 40% body fat, then if you're happy with how your skin retracted, then you could start bulking. But if you're not happy yet, I would give yourself some time and maybe add in GHK copper. Anecdotally, some people were able to tighten their skin with GHK copper at 5 to 10 milligrams per day. Again, anecdotally, it never worked for me that way, but I never really had loose skin. So, but give that a try, 5 to 10 milligrams sub-Q daily for maybe 2 months while you continue the diet. Maybe that's able to retract your skin slightly. And it's always better to diet a little bit further than you're happy with, because as soon as you start increasing the calories, you get fat again. And then ideally, you want your metabolism to pick up. And let's say you diet to 8% body fat, and then you're like overly lean. You have a little bit of loose skin, but it's getting retracted from the GHK copper and just by being in a caloric deficient state for a longer period of time. And then you start slowly increasing the calories again. You keep the test the same, you keep the growth hormone the same, whatever else the same. Slowly increasing the calories. So you go from 8% body fat to 10% body fat by the end of your bulk. Imagine what fucking great place you are in to start cutting. I mean, you'll have to cut for 8 weeks, and then you're shredded again, right? And then you can basically do the Sam Sulek thing, where you do 2 cuts and 2 bulks a year, because he stays below 10% body fat. I wish I was the same, but I always go on holiday and then I get fat. It's my fucking problem. And nobody in my family is lean, so I just have the fat gene, basically. I'm doing pretty okay for my family members. You're all chunky as shit. Here, Benjamin, here, look at this. So we've been working together. Just wanted to say thank you, Steve, for taking me from 2,100 calories maintenance at 6.1% body fat to 3,500 calories maintenance to 6.6% body fat. I even gained 3 kilos of lean muscle. Yeah, and his stack is not that excessive. So, Benjamin, of course, follows the diet religiously, unless he goes on holiday, right, Benjamin? But this is how you do it, right? You keep your body fat levels reasonably the same, but you almost double your calories and get a good amount of muscle tissue. But yeah, you have to be diligent with it, and go to the gym and be regimented with your diet and that kind of stuff. Let's see. Also asked, is there a compound that increases temporary aggression and coordination and cognition? I would say amoxapine increases hand-eye coordination. Cognition, methylene blue, I think it's one of my favorites, and Selank. And if you want temporary aggression, halotestin. So, but a compound that increases all. Slap in the face. Really? Noradrenaline, man, does all three, right? The adrenaline and noradrenaline that does all three. So you get slapped in. Why do you think all those powerlifters get slapped in the face, or fucking punched in the face? Aggression goes up, coordination and cognition all goes up, and it comes from noradrenaline. So I have a segment in the waterproof doping stack, right, about noradrenaline and norepinephrine, or noradrenaline and adrenaline levels. Maybe give that a watch. There might be a compound in there that does the aggression and the coordination and the cognition. But yeah, slap in the face. Honestly, dude, like if you want to ride motorbike or motocross again, maybe ask somebody to slap you on the back and do a double tap like this and then send you off racing. That's probably the best way to, maybe some smelling salts. Yeah, I would say that's pretty reasonable. All right, guys, let's wrap it up here. One more from Omar, last one. Following the benign tumor in the biceps. Omar, have you been pinning your biceps? If ultrasound and the blood work on your website comes out clean, GH and peptides would still be permanently out. Also, what other compounds? Well, ultrasounds and blood work, you need to do a cancer marker screening, obviously. And if it's a benign tumor, then it sounds like site enhancement issues. And for that, you just need to break up the scar tissue with, massage gun, Grassland technique, deep tissue massage therapy, maybe some sauna, that kind of stuff. And then once you feel confident that it's just some sort of abscess or growth that has nothing to do with a tumor or cancer or anything like that, then yes, you can reintroduce the growth hormone and the peptides. But yeah, I would get it diagnosed first, man. And again, if you have a benign tumor, your cancer markers might not be elevated, but it could still like grow rapidly if you add in the growth hormone and the peptides, because it's a tumor after all, right? Your cancer markers might not be elevated initially, but they might be later on. So be careful. Right? Get it diagnosed with an ultrasound, and otherwise do a biopsy. Right? Those needles are not that much bigger. All right, guys, let's throw in a towel. This was fun. We'll see you on Monday or Tuesday with some live discussion about micronutrients and vitamins. You're welcome to join. And then if the YK11 does well, YK11 deep dive does well, and we get a lot of questions, then we might as well go live and answer that, and then see how that goes. Because the more content I make, the better it is, obviously. But I don't want to always do deep dives. And this live, it's such easy content to make. Could even do reaction videos, just live, by sharing my screen. And instead of going through the entire editing process and bothering my editor with slop content, I could just do slop content live. Well, it might be the end of my career, but it's a possibility. Yeah, we're exploring all options. And in the meantime, I can focus on the cryptocurrency market, because, well, that's where life-changing money is made. And right now, the cryptocurrency market is not moving. Well, XRP is moving a little bit. Am I in XRP? I'm not sure. Fuck it. Well, we'll look into that on Monday. Okay, guys, enjoy your weekend. Tomorrow is refeed day for myself and many of you, so better fucking enjoy it. All right, see you on the next live stream, dropping a couple times next week. Holy shit, you'll be seeing a lot of me. All right, peace out. Take care.